Good evening, everyone. Dadman Walking 55 here, coming to you tonight with another Buck Rogers 25th Century review, and I am going light speed tonight. Background instead of our normal golden flashy thingy, but we're going with this light speed, full speed ahead, Captain. Speaking of captains, we got the great captain himself, who was temporarily Admiral, the great J.T. Kirk. Hey, J.T.
Hail. You know, you got to be careful, Dad, man. Once you go at least half light speed, you'll start to phase. I learned that in the first episode this evening.
Okay.
You don't remember that?
I like to phase out. No, I'm just keeping everybody in suspense for this stuff, you know?
Well, speaking of phases, we're coming near the end of phase 1 of Buck Rogers this evening. So
exactly.
Getting excited. It's been a great journey so far, and we'll have 2 more episodes to add to that tonight. So excited to spend the evening with the chat and the panel.
Absolutely. So. And like all great Buck Rogers, we keep getting lots of cameos and stuff, especially in the first episode tonight. And it's quite interesting. Now that we've talked to the Minister of Defense, we're going to bring in the clown of the show and talking about characters and cameos. It's the great Hungry Boy. Hey, Hungry.
I am not the clown. I am the court jester. Thank you very much. But yes, indeed, there will be jokes to be made tonight. A lot of
There's
jokes
a higher pay schedule for court jester versus clown.
Hey, as long as 10 more jesters don't pop out of your vehicle, we're okay. We're good.
Hey, look, hey, JT. I mean, it's basically the difference between a prostitute and a courtesan. You know what I mean?
No. Yeah. No. Episode 2 for this evening.
Yeah. Oh, nice. Let's bring on the 4th guest.
Well, I will. Patience, young sir. You know, this guest is the class of the.
I'm older than you.
Look, this guest deserves all the greatest introduction. You know, better than anything, because she brings class and grace and elegance to this show, including with quite a few important insights of her.
Read your notes. Your notes. You wrote them down. Read your notes.
Hey, I improv. I love everybody so much. I improv all the way. And see,
look, that was a joke for her because she has to look at student notes all the time.
Well, she's a teacher. She has her order and things to do, and she will, like a wizard, arrive exactly when she intends to. It's the great Daisy Blossom. Hello, Daisy.
Yay!
Greetings and salutations.
I love that. No, we need you as a voiceover actress, Daisy. We really do.
Not going to happen, but thank you.
Could you say the rain in Spain falls mainly in the plain?
The rain in Spain falls mainly on the plain.
There we go.
Better than audible, JT. Better than audible.
Yes.
I would know. I don't have audible.
Well, it's a line from an old musical.
I know.
Yes.
Yes.
Okay. Good. Good.
I forget the name of the musical, but yes, because she has to not say Henry Higgins. She has to say Henry Higgins.
Mm.
Yes. Wait, wasn't he on Magnum PI?
No, and it was My Fair Lady.
It's My Fair Lady. That's it.
No, but that's actually a beautiful mistake for tonight, because William Smith, who was in the better of the 2 episodes tonight, was actually on Magnum PI. So, but also, and this is for Dadman, he was in. Yes, he was. Yes. Yeah, that's one of the times you're going to recognize his face. And also, he was in the sequel to Every Which Way But Loose, which was called Any Which Way You Can.
Yeah, Any Which Way You Can. Yeah, it's like, let's just.
How
creative were we in the 70s? We just take the same thing, repackage it up, change a couple words. Smoking the Bandit 2, Cannonball Run 2, Cannonball Run 3. Where'd the elephant go? Up your button to the right, you know?
Hey!
Why?
I mean, I'll take that all day over fake Lord of the Rings. Fake Tolkien.
Fake Tolkien. All right. Well, let's greet the chat, shall we? Daisy, you're looking so lovely tonight, may I say.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
Daisy has a better headdress than what we see from the Qatarians in the second episode.
Yes, Hungry.
Yeah.
What headdress did I choose, Hungry?
I honestly, oh my God, I have had no sleep for the past 24 hours, so
okay.
I honestly can't tell you. I can't tell you, but
Okay.
it's familiar. It's familiar.
It's what it's what I was told Wilma Deering wore in the comic strip.
Yes, yes. Go ahead.
Yep. I did this just for you. I had to take the ears off and the fur, and it's just for you, sir.
I am for Hungry Boy. Oh, that's a Star Trek reference.
Yes, yes. Well done, guys. Fantastic, Daisy. Thank you so much. And I'm just loving that avatar so much. Thank you.
I go back to normal avatar next week.
All right, there you go. But she did it for you. I hope you.
But I get to enjoy this all day today, right?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, let's see. But see, then again, she's no longer. She's now the Empress, Daisy Blossom, thanks to Snortapoops Cuber.
Nice.
I'm the Empress.
There you go.
Oh.
Yeah. Forget Ardala. We got Empress Daisy. So, hey, and by the way, Snortapoopa says, hello, humans and other critters. Daisy Blossom's waving. JT Kirk is coming in waving. Buddy Hepburn is here. Howdy, buddy.
Hey, buddy. Hello, buddy.
Hello, buddy.
B. Hickle. B. Hickle.
And Theater.
Theater.
Oh, God.
You guys are making my ears bleed.
What? How? It's vehicle and theater.
Oh, no.
Okay.
And pecan.
Oh, God.
So Snorapoopa said to you, JT, once my bird tummy calmed down and got a little more snooze time, how are you doing? So, all right. Even Buddy knew y'all were talking. Look, even the youngster knows that y'all were talking about My Fair Lady. I'm sitting here like, I don't know. Okay. Anyway. And hell to you, Appion. Good to see you.
Appion.
Hey, I've actually started getting Appion's name right these days. Because I kept calling him Appany for the longest time. But Appion, good to see you. We will. Thanks for leaving a like. And on Sunday at 4 p.m. Eastern, 1 p.m. Pacific, I will be on Appion's channel doing a watch party of Robin Hood Men in Tights. So come watch the movie with us and have fun talking with us while we do that on Sunday afternoon. So appreciate that. Yes, aluminum, not aluminium. Okay,
aluminium.
Yeah, there's not an extra I in there.
Now I
never understood that. I'm like, where is the extra I? Please point to me. I'll say it that way if I can find the I. But
honestly,
no.
I like the way aluminium sounds.
Hey,
I like that. So
aluminium sounds like titanium, so there's a reason it's consistent. But I was just making that joke for Daisy's sake because she is a teacher and she has to do the right thing and teach people the way words are pronounced.
But see, she's part of the proper British Empire. She is descended from the UK. You are from Australia, the penal colony down there. So it is your job to make trouble for people up in the proper UK, right? Kind of like the people of Georgia used to be.
I can't disagree with that. What, Daisy?
What was me any problems?
Yes.
Not to make too much trouble here, but I would venture a guess that Daisy Blossom knows things, spelled Know, not knows things. Knows. That gets me every time.
It's anything like
N-O, not N-Y.
No. JT, the thing that kills me, and I don't know if Daisy's having to put up with it in her job yet, but SMOL as small instead of SMALL. When I see that being typed.
I'm retired, so I see none of this nonsense anymore.
Oh, good.
But hey,
and folks, I will say in the American school, when I was teaching the science part, I said, well, see, I can't pronounce it any other way than aluminium. So I have to very slowly say aluminum. And all the kids laughed because I had to say it very slowly for them.
Enunciation.
Enunciation.
Here, I need to know one more. If you have a scientific and legal notification of an original invention, it begins with the letter P. How do you say that word?
Patent. God damn it! God damn it!
I was asking Daisy.
Sorry, dude. I apologize.
Okay. Well, as I learned that word as an American from the Americans, I'd say patent, but I know that patent is also said.
Daisy, is it albino or albino?
Albino.
Hey.
Well, you asked. See.
Okay.
Albino. History, it's like an Islamic.
Hey. Damn it!
All right, Daisy. What were your British? What was going to do
done.
what?
The British history lesson is over. Let's go on.
Yeah. We won't talk about dynasty versus dynasty, Daisy. But okay,
let's not.
If it's at least 4 generations, it's a dynasty. If it's less than 4, it's a dynasty. It's like the difference between vase and vase.
See, I've said dynasty.
That's good.
I like dynasty.
The vase is how much it cost.
Yes.
Or how old it is. Yes.
That is true. That is true. Nice one.
All right.
Oh, hey. We're off and running. Yes,
we are.
Yeah.
Speaking of broken vases, space rockers.
Yes, space rockers.
Oh my God! The clear
hold on.
The clear garden hoses.
Stop! I got good introduction for this one.
All right, sorry, man.
Jeez, you people, slow down. I'm the one
herding
with
cats.
Oh, hey, look here. Buddy said albino, just like in Foul Play.
Nice, good reference.
So, all right.
Good movie.
So the first of our 2 episodes is space rockers.
Bad disco. The first
just stop, calm down. I got it. You have time. I'm so traumatized by watching this that I don't know how to introduce it. The title itself for both danger and alarmism, considering it's from the early 1980s. In the late 70s, you had the end of the disco era in leisure suits and disco to the start of parachute pants, big hair, and new wave. Well, this is kind of like a combination of all of it morphing into the year 1980, which is probably appropriate. This episode really, if we want to call it quick, was IMDb said when an evil rock impresario devises a means to implant a hypnotic single into a rock band's music to drive their young audience berserk, Buck must thwart his schemes of the conquest. But this episode 21, Space Rockers, was directed by Guy Magar, written by Chris Bunch and Alan Cole, first aired February 21, 1980, episode 53424. Buck learns that whenever the popular rock band Andromeda performs, why don't they just say Bananarama? We got Australia in there. Performs a show, the youth around the galaxy break out into violence. Suspecting a connection between the music and the riots, Buck decides to head to, quote, Music World. Is anything like Tax World or Bargain World or any of these other touristy stops?
It's kind of like Dolly World a little bit.
There you go.
Yeah.
But with not with country music.
No, but with a former military base turned broadcasting station. There's a combo to meet the group. There he learns that the band's manager, Lars Mangroves, I keep thinking of mangroves, is experiment with energy patterns and human behavior and is somehow mixing mind-altering frequencies into his band's music. With Andromeda's biggest galaxy-wide concert just hours away from transmission, Buck tries to destroy Mangroves' transmitter before the youth of the galaxy tear their worlds apart. Hey, note, this funky song continuously played by the band is Odyssey by Johnny Harris, who composed the track for this episode. So we may know more about Johnny Harris. But like in all the great 70s shows and all the Buck Rogers so far, what would an episode be complete without the guest stars? This guy is right about his music, and he deserved to take over the whole world because, like in Dirty Dancing, damn it, Dad was right. Put baby in the corner, and the punk should listen to Dad. Jerry Orbach, he was right.
I love
the young
Orbach.
hippies. Screw the young hippies and Dirty Dancing. Jerry Orbach was right. But hey, Dad himself with his flashy smile, we see his white teeth and his hair slicked back and his gold chain tonight. He looked like an 80s type of
nightclub
mafioso. Nightclub mafioso,
owner.
I think. Yeah. Richard Bull from Night Court is in this.
Yes!
All right. Another main big time guest appearance. Also, Nancy Francione as Corona, Leonard Lightfoot as Cyrus, Jesse D. Goins as Rambo. Also, other people, Jeff Harlan as Mark, Cynthia Leak as Elaine, Mitch Rada as Technician, Joe Taggart as Security Man, Paula Claire as Tarkus, who we find out a connection with him. He has an important role to play in this early on, and then we see what happens. And the famous hot bombshell of the 80s, Judy Landers as Joanna.
Oh, Judy Landers, yes. Judy Landers, yes.
Exactly. So now,
Did you say Richard Mole?
Richard Mole.
Jingle all the way.
Yes.
Well, no, even more importantly, house
by the way, Snorter
number
Pipus
one. House number one.
Snorter Pipus has got us onto our next argument about how to pronounce schedule.
Schedule.
Yes, exactly. The polyester age. Yes, this was a time of that then. So basically, folks, what we have here, we see the band at the beginning. God, this. Okay. Listen, when I thought of this stupid show, when I saw it first, I mean, I knew it was going to be bad. I see lights dancing on their heads, on their eyebrows, on their nails, on their guitars. I mean, everything was lit up. And I just thought of just like, oh, dear God, what did Hungry, JT, and Daisy get into? Because I could just picture the three of you guys in this band playing these instruments like that.
Having fun.
Yeah, and like
having fun.
Just going crazy. So, and they did it, and then you see Jerry Orbach's character right there. Then he kind of walks in with Bull, the quiet guy. Yes, he says later, but doesn't talk much. But comes in, and they basically they kill the Tarkus, who was the sound guy. The band actually was doing them pretty good job, and then then we go. Then we find out later back on New Chicago, they're getting messages. Dr. Hewer's getting messages from their mole, which was Tarkus, and he, and then the transmission cut off in mid broadcast that there's a warning that the music, but they got an incomplete message, which we find out, he was eliminated and shot out of an airlock. Of course, like with all the other trash, bringing back visions of Empire Strikes Back when the Falcon just floated away with the Imperial garbage. But that's what Tarkus did there. So then Buck comes in as a guest. They kind of have him as a music guy. Buck finds out what the problems is, tells the band. They finally understand what's going on. Then Joey Orbach's there being sinister dad, and Martin Mull gets a good judo kick to the chest that magically knocks him out. And twice Buck Rogers' size, Buck destroys the thing. All the kids start laughing at Jerry Orbach, and the band turns on him, and everything ends out in the end. Very simplistic but quick opening. Guys, where do y'all want to start with this one? I mean, what got me, the very first scene right out of the bat is like you said, Hungry Boy, the damn vac tubes, the tubes and the lights on the tubes, and it was like, oh my God, what are we into here? But go ahead, Hungry. That first scene,
yeah, what?
Yeah, go ahead. What do you said? You talked about the tubes and stuff coming right out of the scene.
Okay, well, I mean, honestly, that was partially a joke. I understand the budgetary limitations of the show.
I thought it was a good serious point though, because to me, it was like, oh dear God, what? I mean, we got lights and we got tubes. Like, where did they get these party favors from?
I mean, I dig that, but my basic thing with the opening of this episode is there's a good thing and a bad thing. All right. And this whole episode is, you got 6 of one, a dozen of the other. And Music World is supposed to be a retrofitted military hunk of junk. And the visual supports that. But the music, oh my God, the music in the beginning. It is like the bastard child of Boston and Edgar Winter. and 70s children. Well, yeah, you know what I'm talking about. You know, Daisy knows what I'm talking about. JT, maybe a bit too young. But, Edgar Winter Frankenstein mixed with a bad Boston song. And that is what we have to put up with at the beginning of the episode. And then the song comes back later.
Is there a good Boston song?
Yes.
Hey, yeah. Thank you, Daisy.
Okay.
Yes. Okay. More than a feeling, but also foreplay / long time, which is the massive organ song on the first Boston album. That is great.
Foreplay long time organ.
I did not make the name. I did not choose the instrument.
Order, though, Hungry. Jeez, but as long as
I am not responsible for my generation, JT.
As long as you don't say Amanda was a good song, I'm okay with that. But yeah,
Amanda, no, I don't like that one.
I know I didn't either. But yeah, it was really funky music because, like Buddy has said, it is in the description said Odyssey by Johnny Harris, and it just really better than Disco Rolling Stones.
Oh, thank you.
But yeah, it was such.
Sorry, Snorty.
We have had nothing but like really shocking music this season, don't you think? I mean, it's really been. I mean, this went. We've had our disco music, we've had our 80s music. This one was just right out of the bat, kind of
terrible.
I couldn't tell if it wanted to be in the 70s or the 80s, and with the lights on their heads.
It was that weird little micro generation from 1978 to 1981. You know, you got these micro generations between generations, and the music really was that. And sometimes that works, like in a film like Sharky's Machine with Burt Reynolds. That's a really nice micro generation film. But in this one, oh dear. I mean, it's just, as I said, MST3K, so bad it's good. It's something that's so horrible, you just love making fun of it.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Well, let's go to Daisy. What did you think coming out of the gate with this one, right off the bat?
I may be the only one who sort of liked this episode. Sorry. There was a lot. That was like, what the heck? But because there have been so many, I guess I was sort of interested in the costumes, especially the lead guitarist lady. That looked very old sci-fi outfit that she had on with the gold and the puff around the accents and the sequins, tall boots, the sequins. The whole outfit to me, and then the weird thing on her head with the earmuffs. Those things were from old sci-fi movies, so I found that interesting.
Oh, really? Okay.
The music was repetitive, but parts of it were okay. I thought the three of them pretending to be musicians. That was funny.
They were really getting into it, I will say. They were getting
into the pretend. Yes, they really were. I mean,
dude, the keyboard, Daisy, the foot on the synthesizer.
Yeah, right on the synthesizer. And I'm looking at that going, there are nowhere near enough keys on that to make a keyboard. And the guy pretending to be a drummer was like, okay.
I thought he was playing glasses of tea because that was they were like
when you put the water in the glasses and you make them sound like bells. That's kind of what that was. But the music before this had been so and who cares-ish. This one was different, and so it was okay.
Well, let me say hello to Killer Rabbit from space on the Twitch side. Hello, Killer Rabbit. Good to see you tonight.
Hello,
and it's
warming up where you are. Exactly. Wait till we have the bunny bear war going on between the two sides eventually. But hey, great to see you in here. But Daisy, I will say I did not know that headdress was necessarily in science fiction, but it did remind me of something specifically. Let me see if I can get this image up real quickly here.
Well, not the lighted bit, because that they wouldn't have had that.
No. And not that. No, not that.
Shark fin with lights on it. No, not that part.
Let's see. let me go to JT. What was your thought of that? Because I got a specific comment about that. But JT, what did you think with the opening scene?
I liked the opening scene. Call me crazy. I did like it. I thought it was nice, kind of imaginative. I don't think futurism is quite the word, but it took things from the past when Buck Rogers was new, and also tried to look into the future. When you see them appearing to fake play a lot of these instruments, there's actually an instrument from the 1920s, and there's an instrument called the theremin.
I love the
electrophone.
Yes.
It was made by a Soviet gentleman who then came to the U.S. and had it patented in 1928. And you play it with your hands in relation to electromagnetic fields. You don't actually touch the instrument in any way. There's no contact ever made. And Hungry Boy probably knows all kinds of sound effects that may have originated from theremin or theremin-like devices. So,
and more importantly, the theremin was responsible for one of the greatest science fiction, not science fantasy, soundtracks ever, which is The Day the Earth Stood Still.
Now, folks, this is the image. The image here is what Daisy's talking about, the lead guitarist on the left, okay? See, these guys got these things over here. The Princess Leia buns around the ears. He's got these things up here. You know, they look like 3 of the 4 Teletubbies.
Wow.
But honestly,
I don't mind it. You know, looking how Lady Gaga dresses at her concerts these days, and no one says bad about that, right? You know, this is right in the vein of that, which they didn't maybe do that as much in the late 70s. No. I mean, maybe you did with that band with the pyramid, the Step Pyramid Red Hats. Oh gosh, you know who I'm talking about. Anyway,
Devo.
Yes,
Devo.
Thank you.
The potted plants on their head.
Yeah, might have done some weird things like that, but you know, this is much more futuristic. But back to the instruments, if they weren't coming into physical contact with them, I thought that was cool because it was kind of like the theremin, which would have been huge in Buck Rogers' time as something pointing to the future. We also have things like Guitar Hero and haptic touch and things like that today, where you don't, I mean, most people would never make an instrument like that because our current technology and response time and you know, there's just limitations that make it not maybe desirable, but you could make instruments like this. And so where you see Star Wars, where they're basically I don't think those instruments actually look that futuristic compared
like
to this.
The milk jug. I know some of them.
You know, compared to the Cantina group, these people actually look much more futuristic to me. And I love,
good point.
In Hungry, maybe you know, or the rest of the panel might know, are these actually LED lights, or are they incandescents on a string with some kind of
the latter. And because the other thing that you were pointing out too that I really like is that Judy Landers, the leader of the band, the chick, she's actually very much trying to look like she's playing this instrument more so than the 2 other gentlemen are. I mean, she's really getting into it. You look at the way she's dancing with it. I mean, she's clearly either she's really much into live music or she studied live music for her performance in this episode. And I really appreciate that in this episode.
Well, let me do this. Buddy said that this song was in Grand Theft Auto San Andreas on the Funk radio station. So Phantom Outsider saying hello. Good to see you tonight, Phantom.
Hello,
said that the plan was not well thought out. Having kids right as how they're going to anyone operational control over the galaxy. Well, you do it in certain ways. Yes, we did hear about Carl Weathers, and we might talk about that later towards the end. But yes, definitely sad news with his passing. I'm definitely loss of a legend. But I wanted to finish my thought here with this, with these headdresses here.
Yes.
Because the first thing I could think of, and I don't know why it came to my mind, but this is what came to my mind. I'm sorry, it did. It did. Okay. Mm-hmm. Talk about how to say vehicle, pecan, or anything else. But I'm like Dan Aykroyd thinking of the Stay Puft Marshmallow Man. But this came to my mind. When Daisy said science fiction.
No.
When Daisy said those headdress type things are in science fiction.
No, that's Turbo Man.
Well, Turbo, it's Turbo time. Turbo Man was sci-fi kind of in a way, but hey, Dementor, his evil enemy, played by Sinbad. You know, you're going to learn to like this movie. Appian and I will make sure you learn this movie.
No, you can't do this to me again. You can't do this to me again.
But it's what I jumped. It just was what I thought. I mean, you got that, and it didn't have the light bulbs, and then you have this. You know, it just jumped out at me.
The light bulbs are an addition, but I'm just going to agree with what Daisy said. It is very much science fiction from the 1950s, both in television and serials, movies, and comic books. And Daisy is spot on correct with that.
And your points about that and it's futuristic, all of y'all, I do agree with that. I was thinking of that as we were looking at it, not even the lights in a way, but the way they were playing the instruments. And my buddy said here that the table up here at the front with acrylic poles looked to be meant as a kind of mid-triggered percussion. That's what I finally caught on to.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Was that was a percussion instrument. So,
and those are commonplace and mainstream nowadays. They don't sound like a real drum set, but if you don't have the ability to move an entire drum set, you can get MIDI drums and hook them up and do all kinds of stuff with those. So
I love what Phantom said is ironic after all these years of being Law and Order, Jerry, or back when. It's because they made him the evil guy in Dirty Dancing. Dad was right in Dirty Dancing. Shame, run those boys away.
Look, Fanti, I love Orbach in Law and Order. I have watched every episode of Orbach in Law and Order. But what I want to ask is for the people who know music more than I, much more than I on this panel, there was a statement made by Orbach when he was discussing things with Andromeda the band, and he said double looped afterbeats. Is that an actual musical term? Because I don't know.
I haven't heard of it, but that doesn't mean it's not correct.
Okay.
I'm not sure if are you familiar with that, JT? And if not, if you can think about it, if you're not, but because I know sometimes they make up words and stuff in this, but what is MIDI though?
Oh, MIDI.
What is MIDI?
It's an acronym. And I don't remember the acronym, but it's basically electronic music where the instrument has a purely artificial sound. You would think of like some primitive video game music as coming from early MIDI instruments, but now you can have quite good sounding MIDI notes. But it's a totally engineered noise that is almost like a beep kind of a thing. Buddy has it. Musical instrument digital interface.
Okay.
Thank you, buddy. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. But
I mean, a lot of people refer to the MIDI keyboard, and they use that quite generically, and you hear that a lot. Like, oh, you want to do music for your YouTube video? Just do a MIDI keyboard. Well, I don't play music, so how do I do that?
Well, see, we're still 35 minutes in. We're on the first scene of this episode. This is how good this episode was this week, folks. It really, and honestly, we go from there. We see Trackus gets knocked off by Jerry Orbach and a smiling, sinister Richard Mole, and then we see Buck coming to the rescue. And just this, I'm not going to quite give y'all what you think. Y'all might think I'm thinking one thing with this episode, and I might surprise you. But JT, what were some high points that you hit with this episode? I see. To me, this one walked in. I felt the music. I felt all this. I thought it set the pace. I was a little starstruck. I was a little overwhelmed with this heavy intensity of the music, the lights, and but that was this was probably the biggest thing with me.
For me, was the opening with that band. And just the attention to detail that they have severely neglected on costuming. This was kind of a bottle episode, but they did take a second at least of thought to how they were going to do things. I liked that the guitarist wasn't just dressed up like a thought.
Right.
Yeah,
so
definitely.
So that was cool. I did want to say one thing. If you were to look at this today, I think it would be kind of cheesy, but they would RGB lighting them like crazy. So I just kind of chuckled and imagined how they would have done it today. And it would have been a little bit, more modernized that way. But you couldn't do that in the 70s because that technology simply didn't exist.
True.
I also, the other highlight of this is that I thought there were two groups that were important. The police that, arrest the criminals and the district attorneys that, Jerry Orbach.
Yes.
Nice.
Thank you, buddy.
I did like Jerry Orbach, and he kind of had the sleazy club leader on that.
He had his hair slicked back. He had his gold chain, and you could see those white teeth everywhere.
Regarding the music, let's. I don't like saying this, but if we're going to be honest about the episode, and this is something I do like, Jerry Orbach was playing Phil Spector. He has actually created. They mention him creating a new sound with combined sounds. That is like Wall of Sound, which is a big aspect of Mr. Spector, who is credited with creating the Wall of Sound. And so there are these little in-jokes regarding the music and the music industry in this episode, and I think that's fantastic. I really do.
Yeah. He did come off as that sort of manager. And this is going to be a really big concert. And, the one you picked is a little slow, and we need to build to this and that. But only if you want to do it, because you're the musician. And I'm like, you're the manager. Of course they're going to do it. It was just so, music managers, yuck.
And the way, Daisy, he treats poor Joanna, using her in that way.
Oh God, yes, that was awful.
Yeah. Oh, made me sick.
Yeah,
but that's good writing.
If you really, it did, and he did it really well. If you really like me, this is what you'll go do.
He used the word love. He did use the word love in this episode.
He did.
If you love
it was interesting to see him play a role like this because he's always been kind of the little grumpy at times at worst, but he's always been a good guy, and stuff. But to see him like now, it's like this was a bit different, and I think he actually pulled it pretty well. Also, another bad guy we saw here that's usually a good guy is Richard Mole. That was very interesting to see him in that role. Didn't have a lot of lines though, I didn't think. But he never really spoke a lot in most of the roles that at least that I had seen. But it was interesting to see two people. We've got another Night Court person. We saw Marky Post earlier in the season. Now we see Richard Mole here. He played a good bad guy in this case.
He always does.
I love he always that smile, that grin when he got the permission to shoot Trackus, and every time he got permission to do something bad, you could see the glee in his eye.
Yeah, he was the muscle. He was the hired muscle.
But also, there's this really weird scene where Orbach says, "Assist me in putting the instrument into whatever it was," and all it is Richard Mole taking the instrument, putting it into the panel, and turning it. It's like, why did you need Richard Mole to help you with that?
It's very, very complicated turn. You have to do it just right. If you're off by just a teeny bit, nano bit, then it doesn't work.
But isn't that part of the tradition?
The other bad guy could do that.
But isn't that part of the tradition of the sci-fi and stuff that the bad guy could just easily win, but they take that extra step to delay it to the good guys win. Because so many times the evil guy has to do this.
This was at the beginning. This was at the setup part.
Yeah.
But even at the end, we see the same situation. Instead of here, just go do it. We see this big build up the thing, and then Buck comes in with a powerful karate kick. And hello, DJ Play Nice. Good to see you.
Nothing wrong with a good karate kick.
Yeah, but it magically knocks everybody out,
Now, Dadman, there was one more thing that I did like on this.
Yeah.
And that was the military base. It was an abandoned military base, so it must have been abandoned during the Cylon attack on the 13 colonies, because it was the exact same corridors as the Battlestar Galactica. So I can only surmise that one of the 13 colonies had built this military base.
Like we talked about Glenn Larson, like to borrow from other things.
Yes.
Here's another view of the percussionist still.
Yes.
Look at all your bar.
See, to me, that's
right
cool.
there.
Maybe you guys didn't like it. To me, that's cool.
Interesting. I think as a drummer, it was a little bit more like, okay, if you're going to have that many things, you're obviously trying to mimic quite a few things on a drum set. Yes. And a very complicated drum set that maybe heavy metal group would play with or something like that. Then you need to hit more of those to make all of the sounds that we were hearing from a drummer. But that's because I was a drummer.
Yeah. Well, I play the trombone, and I can tell you Jonathan Frakes never plays the trombone on The Next Generation.
Yes.
But, these are just things that as musicians you have to deal with.
Yes, you do. Unfortunately. But it is cool. I will say that I kind of thought it was cool in a weird way.
Yeah, it was. It was. I just like picking on it a little bit. But here, to talk to these two guys before we move on from them, here they are, the great Jerry Orbach. What I love was, they look like the pimp outfit. They're like him with the purple, with the chain there, slick back, the hair.
No, that's not purple. That's magenta.
Magenta. Okay.
Pure magenta. Pure
right.
magenta.
But it's royalty. I see royalty style. The lead guy, when purple is the color of royalty, call it magenta, whatever you want, but it's not just an average look. The henchman is just gray and black,
Yeah.
But he's made to stand out. He's got a chain. He's got that. And I tell you, Jerry Orbach always had a presence with the physical thing with that smile and those teeth of his. But he really played an effective thing. Like here, you see this smirk, like your music producer that runs everything used to get in his way. But he also knows how to show those pearly whites just right to where it's like that. When you see that evil person smiling at you, and you're like, and it grates at you. It was like he was very effective, I think, with his facial mannerisms in many of these scenes.
Oh, but what about the hair, dude? I mean, honestly, half the budget went to the grease in Jerry Orbach's hair in this episode. I mean, seriously.
I was thinking he was going to open up a notepad and start interrogating the band.
Yeah. I mean, that hair is so slick. There is so much product in Jerry Orbach's hair in this episode. And there's I didn't get to do a still shot of it. I'm sorry, Dadman. But there is a moment where he turns away from the camera and you see the back of his hair, and it is a ducktail from the 1950s. That's amazing. Yeah, Daisy.
I did. I saw it.
See, I'll be honest, I'd never saw a lot of what Richard Mole had done over the years. I saw him in Night Court. Of course, he was always didn't speak too often, and he was always bald, being Bull's character. And I saw him as one scene in Dementor in Jingle All the Way.
You never saw House? You never saw him in House?
I never watched House. I never watched anything else that he was in. And I
don't mean the show. I mean the movie House. The movie House from 1985, 86.
What House? What movie House?
It's a haunted house film starring the guy from Greatest American Hero.
It's an older film, but it still checks out.
I've never seen that one. There you go.
Oh, you'd love that. You'd love that. Honestly, you'd love that.
Well, that's cool. But see, I always pictured him as tall, bald. I didn't realize when watching this, like, damn, or even the other ones, But it was interesting to see the presence that they had him in this role. It was a good role for him to be the henchman.
No.
Yeah, go ahead, JT.
Before you get off of this picture of this scene,
Too late.
Could you bring up the other one that I just sent to you?
Yeah, let me. Okay, I wanted to bring it up. Let me get it. Oh my God, really?
So yeah. So the gentleman.
I don't know if
left,
I can show this on YouTube. I don't know if I can show this on YouTube, though.
You certainly can.
Sure.
Yes.
Okay. Well, let me say that. Oh gosh, everybody, William Cat. Okay, 25th century ad for Brill Cream. All right. Yep. Well,
Brill Cream.
Right.
Brill Cream. Yes.
Well, Brill Cream. This goes
My
with the
dad
donuts.
wore Brill Cream.
So the gentleman on the left is wearing what I call the bumpy cake costume. This is a bumpy cake. Okay. These are pieces. And so these bumps run across the length or the width, depending on how you orient the cake. And so it's like a Boston cream filling with this liquidy frosting chocolate over the top. And then it's on top of a chocolate breading cake, right?
It's a classy ho-ho from Hostess.
Yes, it's a glorified ho-ho on top of a chocolate cake, and it's made by a company called Sanders. And they are absolutely they are so delicious. But that's actually probably a bigger piece than what you would want because you're going to get the sugar.
It looks very rich.
Yeah,
it looks very rich.
So, Dadman, if you could go back to the IMDb, now that you've seen this picture. If you go back to the one, one, he's wearing the bumpy cake costume. Every time they do this, I cannot unsee the fact that he's wearing a bumpy cake.
So you associate color and sheen to chocolate, just like I do. I get that
100%.
Totally.
Oh my gosh. So anyway, just so people knew the reference, because I think that might be a local dish.
I don't know. I talked about having no squirrel stream later tonight, but I tell you what, our donuts today, this is bringing back my pitch about my donuts today and our stop at the Florida Visitor Center where they gave free orange juice.
Those looked amazing.
Really good.
But I tell you what, I found out apparently that Marvel went in with the state of Florida to do some special edition of Marvel comics. That are given away at the Florida welcome stations. So that's going to be something I have to talk to you guys about sometime. So, but yeah, it's really
those donuts are like Mark's Sunday eatery worthy. Oh my
yes,
goodness.
Exactly. Beyond that, dude, I tell you what, even the basic, you know how Dunkin' Donuts has ruined a regular chocolate glaze because there's like no glazed on it and it's just cake. This was a homemade, this thing's soaked in sugar and stuff like that. This was like an old classic glaze, the bad stuff for you. But hey, by the way, Buddy says that's his passenger life vest.
Okay, I agree with Buddy. I was thinking that's a life vest.
Yes.
Okay.
Like Marty McFly. Like Marty McFly. Where's your what ship you off of? Your life preserver. You're wearing a life preserver. But hey, let's greet the great Masters Maniac Mexico. Hello, Masters.
Hey, MMM.
Hello.
Buck Bagel show every week for something new. Good to see you tonight, Masters.
See, Hungry Boy, now that you know it's a cake, you can't unsee that. Every time now you're going to see this.
I will. Thank you.
Y'all are
I don't want chocolate. Thank you so much.
Exactly. Well, that's what we're here to make everybody hungrier and stuff.
So one of the things, Dadman, on this, and Hungry Boy's muted, but Daisy, I think you probably would know the answer to this. This whole thing with technology and frequencies and emissions from those technologies, stimulating the senses on a subconscious way to affect you through like a hypnotic state. At least by the time of Star Trek The Next Generation, this was a sci-fi trope. A solidly sci-fi trope. Was that the case when Buck Rogers did it here?
Relatively, yes, but this brings up a question I wanted to ask for you and Daisy, because I'm not necessarily that conversant with some of the science. I mean, the thing is that they are using ions to transfer a frequency. Is that actually really possible?
Yeah, the words they used was particle movement theory.
Yes.
And vectoring for an ionized particles carried on a wave through the music to control behavior. Yes. I've not heard that that's how any of that works.
Okay.
Because there's ionized and non-ionized radiation.
And sound will pass through both of those.
Yeah,
sound is just a vibration, and you can vibrate ionized or non-ionized particles. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, it didn't, and why that would control someone's brain didn't quite make sense to me. No.
Okay.
I do want to say one thing. So in this picture, when you look at the lady in this photograph, this outfit that she's wearing, this
Judy Landers, yes.
Yes.
No, it's not Judy Landers.
Oh, sorry.
This is Nancy Franchione.
Oh, right. Sorry, my apologies. Yeah. Go ahead.
Okay. The outfit she's wearing looked very old sci-fi to me. Black and white sci-fi. This is the spacesuit one of the women would wear to go to the moon or Mars or whatever. It had these, the gold lines where they're raised, like they're puffy lines.
Right.
Yes.
And then the swoop down so that this is a woman, but she still has the covering all the way up to her neck. Yes. And then the long sleeves, and the whole outfit to me very much spoke to older sci-fi. The gentleman, on the other hand, that was different. They were trying to do, what are musicians going to look like 500 years from now based on what they look like now. But her outfit to me seemed very different.
That's a good point. And the puffy things that you're referring to, it's called piping.
Thank you. I couldn't come up with the word. Yes. Yeah, the piping.
The gentleman on the right looks like he's out of The Fifth Element, which I do not like that character, and I will not let...
When they ask for her autograph and she's in the hallway and she takes the thing and runs it across, I went, that's like The Fifth Element when he's running around with the rolling thing and rolling red paint up the side of it. So yes, very Fifth Element.
Well, I mean, okay, so we'll give it the guy on the right, Fifth Element, but the guy on the left, and this is and this episode was in production before they could have seen the film. That actually looks a little bit like the Warriors for me.
Oh yes, you're right. It does. It does look like they were trying to take kind of a disco like street cred combination, not wearing a shirt. I don't know what they were trying to do with the one on the left.
I'm sorry. I'm stuck with The Fifth Element for Hungry.
Of course
Rod, his favorite.
Don't Ruby Rod. God. Okay, I can like the movie, but I can still hate Ruby Rod. Okay?
I skipped all the scenes when it came out in DVD. I was so happy I could skip those scenes.
Oh my gosh. Wow.
Oh, Brother Voodoo. Nice one, Fanty. Nice one. Brother Voodoo. Yes, absolutely. But I mean, there are
disco straight cred. What?
Oh.
Yeah, I know. It was, like he's trying to be in a gang, but disco-ish, and because the no sleeves, that would be more gang-ish in the 50s, the rough guys and stuff, and then the low cut with the silver. Not the necklace, the piping thing again. They're the accents. Yes. That's more disco. So this was like a combination of too many things happening.
Yeah. But then again, to agree with you, Daisy, a lot of disco came from the 1950s sci-fi stuff that you're talking about.
Yes, it did.
A lot of sartorial elements came from that. So everything you're saying is feeding into itself, and it's wonderful. I appreciate it.
Let's take a moment now. We've looked at the fashion. We've looked at a lot of the stuff like that, but let's take a look at the serious, the plot line that developed with this whole thing about mind control, about putting the bug in everybody's ears.
Oh, no. If you're going to talk about serious, Dad, man, let's talk about, and I have pictures here, but I haven't sent them to you.
Yeah.
I mean, there is a lot of teenagers, I mean, middle-aged people playing teenagers. That's just, Hollywood for the time. Okay. But we have like the bad John Ritter wannabe, the Kmart John Ritter, who takes over Buck's
Starship. Well, we will.
But I want to talk about an adult. They have have kids, teenagers, as established in the story, drinking in this episode. They're going to a bar.
I know.
What
we
the
will
hell?
talk about that. I want to address what Masters had said here real quick, and then we will talk about that, because see, we're talking about the whole plot with the mind control. With J.R. Bach to brainwash people with the sound to get them to revolt up, and only he could call them back. Issues of mind control have always been one of those things. It's probably in a lot of sci-fi as well as any other good versus evil stories. But it also had a real world application, which I believe is kind of what either the current or the future is what I've been told is part of the science fiction genre. Because Masters mentioned that it's a very interesting book written by German Udo Olkoff. It was a high-ranked German CIA official, claimed the West and East used mind control and underlaid some cases. So we actually have, and even back in the time when this was done, we have always had those rumors or those speculations that this stuff existed. It's really interesting to see how this played out, in this show, as, hey, they're going to use this. Every episode has some threat to the universe, and this time it was mind control by a third party. Before, it had been control these supplies, control those supplies, or enslave these people. This time it was a thought of weaponry. What did you think about the use of that in this episode specifically? And Hungry, from that point, expand though into what your point is, which got with you with the discount John Ritter and stuff.
Well, I mean, there is it's not so much an aspect of mind control as setting off the id versus the ego and the superego, to use psychiatric and psychological terms. They're setting off the bad elements of the subconscious and causing people to do things they would not normally do without that influence. That's not the same as MK Ultra and mind control, where you're setting up someone to have a code word and hear that code word and then go ahead and do something. And therefore, I would not define it as mind control. I would define it as an undue and malignant influence over someone's behaviors. And the various agencies and various countries have been proven to go ahead and attempt to make those things happen. So this was a timely episode, and this was a timely script. And I think they were saying things under the radar, if you know what I mean. But I don't think it was mind control per se, but it was certainly a form of control.
Yeah.
And I would like to hear what JT and Daisy have to say now.
Well, before they go, let's go with them. Then I want you to come back, because I want you to talk about discount John Ritter. This is the best shot I got of him. He and the girl from the back. But yes, Daisy, JT, what do y'all think on that line?
I didn't pick up that specific subtext. I was still viewing it through the sci-fi lens, particularly as it related to Star Trek, which came after this, probably a decade later. And I think...
You mean TNG or TOS?
Yes, TNG. I'm thinking specifically of the episode, the name is escaping me, where there's a quote-unquote game that was through... The visual senses.
Wesley episode,
the Wesley episode where he should have
Wesley Crusher, the gift that keeps on giving,
ship, but they didn't. And they do a visual stimuli with like a video game that would cause them to be sedate and follow the wishes of an inferior craft that was much smaller, who wanted to take over the Enterprise so they could use it for their own ambitions, much in the same way. It's darn near, yeah, Betty or Putty, thank you. It's called
Thanks,
The
buddy.
Game, very aptly named. I should have remembered that. So I only viewed it in that context,
right.
and I always seem to forget that this show does have a subtext on a lot of these Cold War issues.
Yep. I mean, it's Glenn Larson. Glenn Larson's a Mormon, all right? And I'm not making fun of Mormons. I got friends who are Mormons, but, you know, Glenn's going to have his opinion, and he's going to put that opinion in. That is what subtext is, and that's fine. I got no problem with that. But I do think in some cases, and this is going to be a bit risky on YouTube, sometimes I think the Mormon point of view is good for science fiction.
Okay. Oh, there's nothing risky about that. I think if you say they bring something to the table, that's a good
Everybody does. Everybody.
Right. Let's hear what Daisy has to think. Go ahead, Daisy.
Well, I was looking at it from the whole overview of these were young people in kind of youth centers that were going for the most popular music right now. And then they were causing mayhem after the concert. And multiple decades of parents have been concerned about the music that their kids listen to, and that it's changing them and it's brainwashing them and it's turning them into zombies, and they're all going to be, you know, terrible mass murderers or something because they're listening to this type of music. And I realize this specifically was taking that and going, yeah, there's this bad guy and he wants to puppet them. But I looked at it also as, well, that's a lot of generations. The kids and the music they listen to is so different than their parents.
Well, I mean, to agree with you, Daisy, and please go on after this, this was an accusation leveled at the flappers in the 1920s.
Yes. But I mean, you know, when in the 50s, when the dancing changed and we couldn't show we couldn't show Elvis's entire body on TV because that was just risque. Those kinds of things it would be in the minds of some of these writers. And so in this case, they added the sci-fi effect of, well, in this case, yes, he really was trying to mind control the quote unquote teenagers. They were pretty old looking teenagers, but that's okay. I understand in the 70s, that's how it was done.
Yeah.
Yep.
Well, I mean, here's a question though, for Daisy and JT, because you know, you're both of different generations. How did you feel about the liquor imagery being so prominent in this episode? We have a youth center. I mean, it's so clearly listed as a youth center. There's actually a placard in one of the shots that says youth center. And these are supposed to be teenagers. They're established in the script as teenagers, and yet there are bottles of hard liquor in the scene.
But can I jump in real quick here? Because I didn't take it as hard liquor. I just looked at them as futuristic glass. I took it could have been anything. It could have been water. It could have been like blue milk from Star Wars. You pick your beverage. I did not necessarily equate it to being like an adult bar or discotheque, you know, because of the youth centers and stuff like that. I don't, unless I missed something labeled as hard liquor or something, I didn't make the automatic connection that it had to be alcohol that they were drinking, because that did not affect the way they went out of control. What would affect their control was the hypnotic music. But
true,
I don't know, JT,
but you need to look at the design of the bottles.
But still,
and what those mean subliminally to people.
Well, but see, that may be in the current time, but see, looking back, I just looked at it as futuristic. But Daisy, JT, what did y'all think?
Okay, so drinking ages in the United States have changed over the years in different states. So in the state that I grew up, the drinking age was 21 and had pretty much always been.
Mm-hmm.
But they did have, they weren't discotheque, more like clubs that you could go to.
Mm-hmm.
And there were two different bands that you wore. One was you were over the age of 21, and then you could drink alcohol. And the others were you were under the age of 21, but usually at least 18. So you could go, but you weren't allowed to have an alcoholic beverage. So I sort of looked at it as they're in the future, they've got a way better way of doing this than checking fake IDs. So point. I sort of looked at it as, okay, they have alcohol like we would think of it, yes, or something like that. And you had to be whatever their drinking age was. And if you were the younger crowd, then you'd have the non-alcoholic versions. That's how I perceived it.
And JT, did you have any thought on this?
I mean, the whole thing, I don't know if I really cared that much about it being liquor or otherwise. I did like the opening joke about the Beatles, and they said the Who, and he said no, the Beatles. I laughed at that joke. I thought that was cool, but I was expecting Buck to walk in saying, "Hello, fellow Ute. You know, how are you?"
what's a Ute?
Yeah, what's he? Exactly. The whole thing about that, even if it was hard liquor or not, being, I guess, relatively, it's been a long time since I was not of majority. But at least in the US, you have 3 ways that alcohol is targeted. Well, for legal reasons, I can't say that they are deliberately and intentionally targeting towards people under the age of 21 of drinking age in the US. But a lot of alcohol is targeted that way, allegedly, in my opinion. You have 3 of those. One of them is like your cheap beer, and it's marketed as a masculine way towards young men to be cheap. And, you know, this is the guys drinking beer kind of a thing. Then you have liquor that is marketed towards young women. And so a lot of that'll be in colorful bottles, or the labels will be a certain way, or they'll even add food coloring to make it blue or pink or, you know, something like that. The third way is liquor that looks like the second way that young men think young women will like, even if they don't. And that's because they know that young men will buy whatever liquor they think young women want, because they have intentions for later in the evening. I won't say that are non-consensual, but
you want to have a party.
So you're saying there's a chance, right? So the fact that was there, so be it.
See, I guess it
didn't really offend me or anything like that.
I guess, like what Phantom Outsider said, I thought it was just a 25th century kids version of the soda shop. I just didn't even make a connection.
Could have been. It
was no big deal. The point was that they were in this situation and being the target audience for what happened. Masters also said, "Come on, so normal in the 70s and 80s. We all have beer around. We were sent to buy some, so." Things change and say if in the 25th century, if Phantom Outsider says they serve hard liquor to teens, they have greater problems than rowdy teens.
Yeah, right.
Yes, you will.
Now, Betty does also say the last Tennant special run of Doctor Who had the giggle that had a similar undercurrent of broadcast that caused people to become violent. So we've seen this plot through many other things. Now, with the time that we've got, are there any other points about this episode before we give our final thoughts on it and our grades? Because I want to make sure we've caught up everything that you've got, Daisy or Hungry or JT, if y'all got certain notes. I've said what I felt like on this one, the big parts of this episode, but do y'all have anything else?
I'll piggyback on when JT said the whole thing about the Beatles.
Yeah.
I thought it was funny. The first thing out of my mouth was, that's not how the Beatles sounded. like at all. Not even when they'd gone off in the 70s and done the thing, whatever, found themselves. No. But the whole thing with the Who, No, not the Who, the Beatles. That was funny. Yes.
Yeah, it was.
That was very, very funny.
Yep.
And
I thought
also
that they
liked,
picked good bands. Sorry, Daisy. I thought they picked good bands because I knew who they were talking about.
That's
so
true.
They did a good
And
job.
I'm sure that's why they picked those bands was, yes, people will know who the Beatles, and they will know the joke, the Who, because everyone would go, the Who?
Right.
In fact,
Who
that's why
big.
the band... That's
the
why
Who
the
was
band
still big at this
the
time.
name.
The Who was still, to back you up, Daisy, the Who was still a big band when this came out.
Now,
yeah, so would the Beatles have been, even though they'd broken up.
Yeah.
All right. Well,
wounding me, Daisy. Wounding me.
I know.
Well,
me too.
She loved the episode though, so I can't wait for our final grades. But this is for Masters. He wanted to see the green suit again. But Hungry Boy, I know that there's one thing you've not talked about. I don't know if there are the points, but the discount John Ritters, the old adults as teens, and this is two of the teens that were sent home to their parents. So please opine. This is your chance before we wrap up this episode.
I'd rather mention two things I like about the episode and then close with the adults as teens thing.
Okay, that's fine. Go ahead. Now's your time.
Okay, so there was one thing that Orbach said as his character, where he said, "I've got a video library of all your performances." And that is just like certain video and social platforms today, which keep copies of everything we put up, and they can never be deleted. We can delete them, but we've had people talking about, oh, I deleted the video YouTube complained about, but they have a copy of the video. Facebook does the same thing. So that was a very, very prescient thing to put in the script in this episode. It was foreseeing the future that, yes, you can delete anything you like, but it is never properly deleted.
We have a mutual friend that has always said that before, is that, it's on their YouTube's forever, that, just, it is there. You may think it's not there, but it will be there and follow you. Okay. So what's your other point before the adults as teenagers?
The other thing was, and this was something that just emotionally hit me, because this is it's an emotional TV show. Okay, so it tries to go for the emotions as well as the sci-fi. And when you have the character of Joanna, who was basically conscripted to seduce Buck, and she walks in looking as seductive as all get out. A nice point of this episode was that Buck had no interest. If you look at his face and body language, no interest except in a gentlemanly fashion. His eyes do not light up at her. He does not change his posture. He just wants to be helpful to her. And then she does what, Jerry Orbach's character made her try to do, and he's still forgiving of her. And that is the essence of not only a gentleman, but someone who had the self-discipline to become an astronaut. And Buck is an astronaut before he even got into this show. And I think that is really good writing on the part of the people involved in this program. They got Buck right in that scene.
Okay.
True.
So, and now we'll go with the adults as the thing. So
I hate it. I hate it ever since I was a teenage werewolf, or I was a teenage Frankenstein. I've seen
by the way, let me
50s
say
stuff.
hello. Sorry, I messed up. I missed Snortopoopas. Snortopoopas had to drop.
Snorty.
He's going to bed. But
Oh,
Petchy
good
the
night,
Hedgehog is here.
Petchy!
Happy Hedgehog Day. It is
Petchy!
happy. Well, now it's flipped to the third, but in Europe on the second, when we have Groundhog Day, it is Hedgehog Day in Europe. So let's shout out to great Pudgy the Hedgehog, who, by the way, on Twitch last night had one of the most amazing, funniest Dead by Daylight streams I've ever flippin' heard. He goes around as the killer in the game. You hear a squish splat and, oh, where's Briscoe County? Where's Briscoe County? So if you have Twitch, go follow this guy. Because I know he's on Raymond Feliciano's show a lot, but go catch this guy on Twitch. He's
fantastic.
Right,
and Pudgy is on Raymond Feliciano's show on YouTube. Yep. You have to go and see Raymond's show and see Pudgy. Pudgy's great.
Yes, he is, Pudgy. We learned last night because we got him in the last hour into Athens, and it was a blast. He made Dead by Daylight so funny, but hey, oh gosh, I'll try to get your link out there. But hey, everybody, sorry to derail that. But yeah, but they're hungry. That was kind of the thing at the time. I mean, everybody looks 60, and they're teenagers. It just
well, that is true. That's true.
They really, especially the older teens, they would have kids play kids, but then it's like the older teens were adults. Oh man. Maybe it had to do with Hollywood at the time. Was this a trend in the industry that really was a pet peeve? Or
I would not say trend. I would say practice. It was a practice in the industry. And there were reasons for that because, when people were very young, there were rules about being in high school. You'd have to pay extra money to have a tutor for them. If they were not 18 or older. And that's why you have someone who is 25 years old, like Michael Landon, playing a teenager in I Was a Teenage Werewolf. Yeah, you would hire someone who was 25. Sometimes you'd even hire someone who was 30 if they could visually look younger. But the guy who plays what I call the Kmart John Ritter, there's no way he's passing for a teenager in this episode. No way at all. Some of the other characters, yes, but I sent out the joke images on Tweety. Look, the guy looks 35. Give me a break.
I know.
I mean, Daisy, do you not agree that he could not pass as a teenager?
Yeah, no, he's not a teenager.
No. And there's one real plot flaw I have in this, because this is an emotional episode, not a real sci-fi episode. The following episode we're going to talk about is a sci-fi episode and a comic booky episode, and I love it for that. But the Kmart John Ritter, okay, he's supposed to,
I just muted myself.
Oh dear. But if he's supposed to be a teenager, how does he bloody well know how to break into Buck's starfighter, start it up, and fly it? Where did he get that knowledge?
But he just ran and kicked the maintenance guy down and jumped in the fighter with the chick. It's even worse. Where's security?
And not only that, one more wrinkle on this to make it more. They just jump in there in their regular clothes going for a joyride. But they're going to die. Wait a minute. Let me go get my uniform on and
put
make
my helmet
a couple phone calls.
And you're going to die because you're very close to dying off path. Yes, exactly. So.
No, I do like the episode. Don't get me wrong. But I'm just saying there are some plot flaws here. All
right. Well, JT, were there any things that you still had to say about this episode before we wrap it up so we can get to the second episode?
The better episode.
Well, they got to half light speed, which means they would start to phase, which is what I was mentioning right when I came in at the beginning of the show. I don't know what phasing is, but if you go that fast, I guess it happens, which might be a bad thing.
It might be a bad thing. But I'll tell you what.
Fade out of your ship.
Well, yeah. And just to end it, Dadman, because I had already seen the TNG episode and some of these others on other shows over the years, I loved the opening scene. But once they had set up the premise, I was really bored going in the back half because I knew every single thing that was going to happen. Really. I mean, I was like, okay, maybe they'll do a minor plot twist here that might be slightly different, but I don't know if everybody else saw everything coming from a mile away. That's what took it away from me the most out of anything.
And see, I could see things develop, but it wasn't critical to me. But I guess it just depends on what you expect, what you want with that. And Phantom says Pudgy turned in to check out Andromeda as Pudgy sings King Dolphin TV show notes. Yes. Well, I tell you what, I'd love to hear Pudgy sing this Andromeda song. So that was hilarious.
There were no words.
Exactly, but Pudgy can make sounds. I know. So hey. Oh gosh, Phantom Outsider said Bonanza, 40-year-old man has 4 30-plus-year-old sons.
Nice, Fanty, nice.
All right, so let's go around the horn. JT, start with this. We'll start with you. What did you think of it on your grading scale?
Oh gosh, practically average in every way. Instead of Mary Poppins, it was like generic stand-in nanny.
Okay.
I loved the music stuff at the beginning, was not enough to carry it over to a recommend. So I cannot recommend it only because it's too predictable. And that's where I really don't like it. 3 out of 5 Law and Order gongs.
Wow.
Okay.
There you go.
That was an interesting scale. Okay.
Love it.
Well, we do have the Law and Order cast on this.
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Orbach!
Well, Daisy, on your letter grading scale, as a great teachers do, what do you say?
Well, first of all, the teacher notes that the student's project did some research on what the teacher might like, as in music and that sort of thing, and tried very hard to make the teacher give them an A. And part of me was like, you might have suckered me in a little bit in the beginning there. I did like the nods, the costume nods that I brought up. I liked Tweaky and his whole, long live rock and roll. Tweaky does just as cute for me.
Yes.
I thought I saw everything coming, but I was entertained enough that I would probably give it probably a B-, a C+, somewhere in there, above average, but not awesome. But I liked it. I don't know that other people would, but I did, and I was entertained.
Okay. All right, JT. It's hungry. Sorry,
it's hungry.
Your turn. Hungry. Your turn.
Okay, as a science fiction show, I give it a C-, but as an emotional feel-good show with sexiness added to it, I give it a B+.
Oh,
sounds good. Very nice.
Very interesting. I'm surprised. I mean, that's interesting.
Well, who's ever going to say no to added sexiness?
Exactly.
I mean,
So like Masters is saying, he takes away both for free for everyone. Make green suits a law. A++, 10 out of 10. So.
Well,
Phantom Outsider though says the episode though was a let's save money. Kids extras work for cheap beverages.
Yep. But I would like to define the sexiness here for the sake of our fellow panelist Daisy. The reason the lead of the band Andromeda was sexy was because she was actually in control. She had a great brain in her head. She knew what she was doing. She was able to listen to what Buck had to suggest regarding what they had to do in the later third of the episode, but she was integral in making that happen. And because of her abilities, that is what made her sexy, not the costume. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm. I do.
All right. Well, let's go with this so we can move on to the next episode. I will say this was traumatic watching the start of this thing. I mean, with the one thing I hated is somebody talked about, I think Phantom Outsider, somebody said something about making them playing safety dance and stuff. Yes, I hated the safety dance for so many years. And oh dear God, please stop playing that damn song. And that's all I could think of. Especially
what?
I hate
you inflict me with Duran Duran and you hate safety dance? What the hell?
Well, I don't sit there with doing this stupid young dance and sitting there with the S where you're holding your hand down below your midsection. Like, dude, stop. This is not football. You don't need to. Exactly. I just So no, Lisa. No safety first. Stop that.
Lisa. Hello.
Hey, Lisa.
I'm sorry.
I like that, Lisa. I agree.
Lisa's one of my encouragements. Lisa and Daisy encouraged me to sing Duran Duran for you, Hungry. So that's why I do so much Duran Duran.
I like safety dance.
I know you do, Daisy, and I love you still anyway. But hey,
thank you.
It was growing up. It's like the Temple of Doom. It was the thing that pissed me off because what kind of dorks go around with this? It just, as a teenager, it made no sense with this S and the guy's holding himself. And you got the little dwarf guy there bouncing around and the ditzy blonde flying around and it was too much chaos for my accountant brain at 16 years old, but I just couldn't handle it. But yeah, it's a fun song, a little bit more now, but But what the hell was I even saying, Hungry, before you brought that up?
You were saying
that you could dance if you want to.
Yes, exactly.
You were saying we need to move on to the next episode.
I know that, but you got me squirreled in my own damn stream. So exactly. But hey, and now Masters is throwing Darth in there. So, but I
that's what M&M.
I hated the overeager. You know, the worst problem about 80s videos was when the band people were going over hype fake and they're not even playing the friggin' instruments of the band. That's what I felt when I saw this. Then I saw the Teletubbies. Then I saw Christmas-like Teletubbies. The very scene right out the bat. But you know what? You're laughing. I knew you'd laugh at that one. I still get us 4 out of 5 overall as an episode. I like the plot line. I like the mind control thing. I could deal with this stuff, even though, like JT said, you can see things coming. It was not like the friggin' Village thing where I spent an hour and a half of my time, money and stuff. Dear God, why did I believe a bunch of hippies? Yeah. I actually could believe this. I thought it was pretty good. I liked this episode very well. A B, higher than a B would be too much, but yeah, I really liked the episode.
So wait a second. So musically, it'd be a B flat for you.
No, it'd be a B sharp because it was actually better than a flat.
Nice. We're on fire today.
You can dance. You can. Everyone look at your pants. Yeah, words like that are what got me with that damn song. Okay, fine. I'll do it in karaoke for y'all one night. If y'all show up to Ramblin' Canucks tonight,
I hate that song.
I will show up and do it for you, and I will keep doing more Duran Duran B-side stuff for you. I'll do Devil Went Down to Georgia for you. I know you like that one then.
No, that's okay. No, I would rather listen to 5 Duran Duran songs 5 times in a row than Safety Dance. So yeah.
Now we know how to torture Hungries, folks. So, hey, he let the secret out. So, but seriously, I'd say 4 out of 5 with this. I liked the episode. I thought it was good. And definitely not a waste of time. These episodes, I think, were better tonight overall. So now Masters.
Yeah, that's
you can
good.
Darth,
I like
if you want to. You can leave that Vader behind. Just put a new cloth, buy a double blade, and you make the people blind. Safety Darth.
It's safe to Darth.
Oh gosh, I wonder if Pudgy saw my donut tweet today.
Donut.
D. Oh. N U T S donut dance. Dun. Yes.
No, Lisa, you do not take notes. Do not take notes, Lisa.
You know what? You know what? Hungry one night. You know what, Hungry? We might have to get Pudgy on one of our squirrel stream late night streams one night.
Yes, please.
That would be a heck of a thing with Pudgy.
But because we have limited time.
Yes, I know.
And Daisy, we need to move on to the next.
Yes, I know. Really but hey, we'll squirrel. We can still squirrel a little bit after. But our second episode of the night, folks, was Buck dueling to the death.
Yes.
Well, which was very anticlimactic, I think, when we saw the end of this episode 22. Buck's duel to the death. Well, it kind of. Well, let me finish the intro because I'll tell you why I felt that way. Buck's Duel to Death, directed by Bob Bender, written by Rob Gilmer, aired first March 20th, 1980, episode 53425. Buck is invited to planet Qatar, where he learns that he is to fulfill a prophecy that a 500-year-old man called the Roshan will lead an uprising against the Tribor, a ruthless warlord who oppresses the Qatarian people. The Qatarian leader, Prime Minister Darius, asked Buck to simply pose as the Roshan in hopes it will inspire his people to revolt, but not wanting a civil war. Buck instead decides to lead a mission to enter the Tribor's palace and eliminate him covertly. However, an informant tips off the tyrant and Buck's mission is foiled. The Tribor then challenges Buck to a duel to the death, but the dictator has the advantage of a cybernetic implant that allows him to throw deadly bolts of electricity. Oh God, JT, you've doubled down on it. Thank you.
Yes.
Okay.
Triple down.
Folks, what we have here
is a failure.
You don't win against Qui-Gon Jinn. Disney movies you'll find. I'm sorry.
You could maul if you want to. You could leave your legs behind.
Because if you don't win against Qui-Gon Jinn, Disney movies a rule you'll find. I can't read.
Wow.
I messed up the end of the Disney.
It's okay. It's a hard ending. It's a hard ending to get right in there. I'm amazed y'all did as well, fitting those words in there. But that's why I leave music to the professionals, because I
Don't
can't
try
get
this
it.
at home.
Exactly. Well, Trebor spelled backwards is Robert, which might refer to either a writer or director. Guest stars in this are William Smith as the Trebor, Keith Andes as Darius, Elizabeth Stack as Vion, Edward Power as Neil, Fred Sadoff as Kalon, Robert Lucier as Dr. Albert, Stephanie Blackmore as Greta, Heidi Bohey as Maya, Francisco Laguerrera as Kareem, and Douglas Bruce as young officer. Basically, where we had it is they, it just what we see is Buck and Wilma fight off early on. They fight off a ship that appears to be in distress, and it's one of the people coming from the planet, in this war, and they want to get Buck's help from the Earth Directorate. So Buck goes, helps this, saves the women. Of course, this is Cliff's Notes short version. Saves the women. They get out on the rescue mission. Buck gets captured, but he gets saved. They come back, and then the Trebor comes after him to fulfill the prophecy, but it's not a duel to the death because both sides have got a bunch of troops out there at the beginning. So then we got, eventually the two fight. Buck wins. A simple Cliff Notes, but guys, what Hungry? I guess let's start with Daisy Blossom. Daisy Blossom, let's go through what you want to talk about this episode to make sure you get to say everything you want to before it. Okay.
It sounded like Hungry had more notes. I mean,
well, let's go ahead with yours. Let's go ahead with your notes first. We'll go ahead with your notes in case they parallel him.
Okay, the big things I talk about, and Hungry might have more to say on this. So, the matte paintings of the two cities, one of them looked like, I don't know, a stylized version of Angkor Wat.
Yes.
A very interesting, very Asian-like, very different. So it was browns and earth tones built into the rocks.
Yes. Absolutely.
With even the sky was, harsher reds and oranges, whereas the other city looked kind of like pods or modules you would put together on your base on Mars.
Yes.
Very futuristic-y type of thing. And their sky was a more normal bluish color. Except at the end when they showed that one, then it looked like, I don't know, what am I trying to say? Where you would keep gas and stuff, like a depot for fuel depot in the front. That was odd. But the poles in front of that futuristic one, to make it look like there were other modules, they had these round mirror-like things in them.
There's a reason for that.
It made it look like there was another one just off screen, but they didn't have to paint the other one.
That's because it's actually a mixture of a photograph of futuristic architectural constructions made in Japan around 1972, mixed in with painting the matte painting. It was a very clever trick.
How cool!
Gotcha. Yeah, those two outers of the cities were amazing to me. The other thing was I took some notes on wardrobe because you people are always asking me about hair and all that kind of stuff. Who's wearing what?
Look, I'm fascinated by hair, eyebrows, costumes. I am, really.
Right. I started adding notes for costumes and that sort of thing.
Oh, good. Thank you.
In addition to all the other bits and bobs, I liked the lady. So, the one that's asking Buck for help, another pretty woman who cries and says, "Please help me." And
yes.
Buck goes to rescue her. Her hair the top with the woven thing across the top of her head, and I'm like,
yes,
I get it. Her hair was supposed to be quite long and rather straight.
Yes,
but I was still, while that was pretty as sort of a headband, to try and tell me that that's her real hair and they wove it to look like that was yeah, probably not.
Good night, GJ. Play nice. But yeah, go ahead, Daisy.
Yeah. So then, let's see, the rectangle. Oh, this is just a girl thing. The leader of the good guy team,
the prime minister. Yes.
Yes, the prime minister. That large silver rectangular bauble on the end of his long necklace with the beautiful blue stone and little bits, little crystals hanging off the bottom. I was like, oh, that's beautiful. I want one. You know, hey, I'm females can be drawn to that sort of thing. And let's see what other costumes. The fact that when at the end, when Buck was going to go into this very anticlimactic fight, that the young lady came with a medallion in a box, which had a beautiful, it was beautiful, the way the way it was done. And she gave it to him and said, this is from our culture and you would wear it near your heart. And I thought of in medieval times when a lady would give her quote unquote favor to one of the knights. So,
good point.
You know, a bit of clothing or a small, like a handkerchief, but not like that. And would give that to the knight and he would tie that to his lance.
Or a tiny trinket she wove herself.
Yes, correct. So that would be what they called her favor. And she was giving that to one of the knights for luck, which is what she said this was. I don't know whether or not he actually wore it. With the outfit he was wearing, it was rather open at the top, and I don't remember seeing the chain, but it might have been there.
Hungry Boy.
But Buck's... Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, go ahead, Daisy. I'll put it in private chat. Go ahead, Daisy.
Oh, sorry. And then Buck's outfit at the end, I thought was a combination of James Bond meets the disco suit from like Staying Alive.
I have that in my notes. I'm like, why is it Saturday Night Fever at the end of this episode?
What is up with? They were trying to do like the all white kind of suave James Bond, but it looked like a Saturday Night Fever thing. And
of course, with the open shirt, you know, Saturday Night Fever says open shirt, show the chest.
There are some things I'm glad I did not miss from the 70s, and I think that might be one of them.
Yes. This show is beating the hell out of the chest shots. Yes, go ahead, Daisy.
The last shot with Buck, that outfit he's wearing looked like the velour. I made one of those. That with that velour with the black with the diagonal stripes in different colors. I actually sewed an outfit like that for myself because that shirt was kind of in.
Oh, nice.
But I was looking at that. I started laughing. I'm going, oh my God, I can't believe I wore that.
Wow.
Yep. Fashion says a lot.
There was that's nothing like Buck has ever worn before. There were several things. It was like, what was happening in costume today?
I was talking about fashion. You know, I had a problem with both sides. We did get a lot of pew-pew. We actually had people wounded and shot pew-pews. I love the pew-pew, except at the end it was supposed to be a duel and everybody brought their posses to it. But what got me was at the final duel, Buck looked like he was going to the disco.
Yep.
He's in there with the leisure suit type thing, open shirt. Like, what's the duel?
He couldn't have been an easier target if he had put on a red coat uniform from the 18th century.
Lisa, no, Lisa, no. No, Lisa, no.
JT and Daisy, there's a surprise out there on Twitter for Hungry Boy from Lisa.
No.
Under her.
No.
Okay.
Absolutely not. But I mean, just about this episode, and I've got it in my notes, and I spent a lot of time putting notes into this episode. Buck Rogers comes from newspaper strips, which then goes to comic books, and this was a 100% comic booky episode. And the costumes in this were fantastic and appropriate and respectful to the source material. And you look at, I mean, the Trebor has 2 major costumes in this. Buck has at least 3. And we have some very good Wilma costumes as well. And this is a magnificent costume episode. But also, and Daisy knows what I mean by this, you'll be a bit young, JT, but a Prel episode. This is very much the we do not need product for our
the
hair.
Shampoo.
We just
okay,
need
I got you. The shampoo.
Got hair.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah, they know nothing about electricity yet. The static electricity is like everybody's got it all over.
You know what I mean, Daisy? I mean, the big
gracious.
floofy, beautiful hair, big floofy, beautiful female hair, clean, but it's not covered in goop. This horrible goop that came out in the 80s. You know the goop I'm talking about, the product. Oh my God, the hair product.
Yes.
Ugh, horrible. And so the hair in this episode, I mean, you know, when we see the harem, which is properly pronounced harem, by the way, you see the hair in this harem, and it is gorgeous hair, and the outfits are wonderful. And this is just something that happens in Buck Rogers all the time. They cheap out on one episode, and then they immediately throw money at the next episode with the costumes and the sets. And the sets and the costumes in this episode are wonderful, delightful, delicious. And I adore this episode. It's one of my top 7 episodes of the entire show, both first season and second season. We don't know if we're going to get to the second season because you guys got to look at those a little bit and decide if you want to put your time into it. But it's like for the second season, it's like the difference, and Daisy will know what I mean, between Space 1999 Season 1 and Space 1999 Season 2.
All right. Well, let me say hello and hi to Bowsette tonight. Good to see you. Glad to have you around tonight.
Hello, Bowsette.
Hey, Bowsette.
Master says we all have buck fever. We're allowed to have a buck fever. No way for this shit. But I will tell you though, these 2 episodes were really good tonight. I mean, this is probably one of the better weeks of episodes that we've had. This, even though it's some little flaws with some of the pew that magically people didn't get eliminated, but there were pews. There was some stuff, and they brought their posses to a one-on-one fight. Yeah, there was some things with it, and the convenient escape, but you
got your pew in this episode.
I did.
There was a lot of pew.
There was a lot of pew, and I really, really, these are 2 really good episodes that we had tonight, and it was a pleasant change because we last few weeks we've been having some kind of really boring ones and stuff. So Daisy, thanks for sharing your big points with that. We got about 15 more minutes with Daisy, but JT or Hungry, do y'all have any big points that jump out at you with this episode that you wanted to discuss?
I'll let JT talk, but if we only have 15 minutes for Daisy,
we can go. No, JT, you and Hungry and I can keep going a little bit further.
I have less to say about this episode than the first one.
Right.
I was also sharing the same sentiment with the hair. Yeah. I was trying to figure out whose hair was actually real in this whole thing.
It wasn't the Trebors. It wasn't the Trebors.
Even I could tell that was a mop. Yeah.
And the harem, I thought it was interesting that like all of them were blonde, but none of them were blonde. At least I don't think so. They all look like they dyed their hair.
There was a significant brunette in the harem, but she shows up later.
There was. There was a brunette.
And she had the good fluffy hair. It was so nice and fluffy.
So when I see, all one hairstyle, it makes me wonder why it was cast that way. Is that a societal thing? Maybe blonde was in back then, or maybe the director casting just wanted it that way, or, because dyeing your hair blonde or different hair colors can, it's a cyclical thing. So that's kind of what made me kind of raise my eyebrow. 2 last things that I thought were problematic for this episode. One was the laziness with how to get into the castle or the fortress.
Okay.
Everybody knows there's catacombs under a fortress. That's like it was lame. It was lame. South Park reference. It was lame. But fine, whatever. It just did not excite me the way that they got in there. It seemed very, we're here doing an action show, so this is just how we're going to do it, and we're not going to try to be original, which I don't really like when they do that. Not the fault of anyone doing the acting, but it was writing. Then the pseudo superpower of the main villain, the Trebor, or whatever you want to call him.
Yes.
With the electrical doodads, I had all kinds of problems with it, starting with the fact that electricity, why nobody's used that in hundreds of years. This goes to my tagline. So you're telling me Ben Franklin is smarter than the future of the galaxy. What are they using for lights? What are they using for the computers? You're not using electricity. You don't understand the basics of electricity. You would think that these people, if they were so much smarter in the future, I'm going to go on a rant here, that they would freaking know about electricity, at least the basics. Okay.
I was pointing out your Ben Franklin future galaxy comment there.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
And it just really made me mad. I'm like, okay, so it takes Buck Rogers, this guy from the past, to school you all about basic electrical engineering. Come on. People are not going to forget about what electricity is in the future. That's a stupid thing to write. And they don't say what it was replaced with, that somehow does everything that electricity does, but shares none of the same properties otherwise. So people don't understand this. A whole planet is just cowed by a guy that has a minor electrical wizardry. Like, give me a break. Give me a break. I thought that was stupid as stupid could be. And don't do it. Don't do it. Because even back in the 70s, people knew about electricity, okay? People would have been just as mad back then as I am right now.
They are Wesley-fying, according to you. They're Wesley-fying the episode.
Who would ever thought that Twiggy would have been the most grounded character in this whole episode?
Oh, that's beautiful. Thank you, JT. That was, keep going. Do it.
What happens when this guy decides he wants to go for a swim? Or what? And how is the body generating that much electricity? Because it's not like he has capacitors in him, which, by the way, would have to be quite large to have the electrical force dispersed by this man. Well, so the fact that he is not a battery, I mean, I guess the human body is now a battery, but they say these microscopic implants, how are they conducting that kind of electricity?
JT, we could ask it from.
Sorry.
Go ahead, Daisy.
How is it not? They're electrical implants under or his skin, not on his skin. How is he not electrocuting himself?
Well, and see, I have a question though. Well, what can we make? Maybe it's like the Riker libido, where it just continually replenishes and gets so powerful that you can't stop it.
I mean, but to back up Daisy and JT, they never say they're microscopic implants. They just say implants. And that means, it's not physically possible. It's not physically possible at all. I mean, he would have to have basically something the size of a house attached to his back to make this happen.
Maybe it was under his wig,
Well, they do say that he spent time on, I believe they pronounced it Voltaire.
Where
there are electric
Voltaire,
right? Because it was volt, and I got Voltaire. Yes, and
we have the answer.
Okay, fine. Electric beings who taught you to put electric implants under your Terran human-like skin, please.
Yes.
But here's the answer. Here's the real answer to it that our young buddy Hepburn has gotten onto. He eats massive amounts of Costco-sized cans of pork and beans. That's what powers him up.
That's how you power a rocket ship. That's
yes.
But it powers that hand, It's
well, and I forget who it was. Was it Daisy or Hungry that said, "How does he not electrocute himself? If he had those implants in his arms, he would arc himself."
Yes.
Yeah,
well, kind of like
I'm sorry.
Stonehand Man stoned himself. You remember?
Well,
And
I mean,
you know,
the other thing, JT, is we cannot do headcanon here. We can only look at what the script tells us and what the actor said according to the script. And there was no excuse for the problem that you were addressing here.
Exactly.
None.
The way that I would counter this guy, I would counter this guy in 2 minutes. Okay. I would say, all right, I need a pair of rubber soled shoes, some rubber gloves, and like a rubber smock that I would use to clean at McDonald's, and I'm going to run at this guy, and I don't know, weapon of your choice, and just end it. Like, no one on this whole planet.
Yes.
I'm sorry, electric discharge from the atmosphere. If nobody used electricity for hundreds of years, you still have atmospheric discharge known as lightning, which these planets will have, and you will understand how electricity works if you don't want all your buildings to get struck and burned down.
True.
And folks, this is the Trebor
go.
standing up here with that big wig. So yes.
The color of his hair was just, who decided on that color of hair?
I don't, Daisy, I have no idea.
God. Phantom.
I mean, Daisy, I don't understand why they did this. And I'm not making a joke here. It's not a joke, because William Smith, the actor who plays the Trebor, actually had great hair and a lovely hair color. Why did they use the wig? What was the point?
Know. And it was awful. That's not even a good wig.
No, it's terrible.
That is so obviously a mop wig they stuck on top of his head.
It looks like it came off a mop used to clean a kitchen floor and put on his head. It's terrible.
And that's what color it is. It's dirty mop.
And yet you look at the rest of them. You guys have to admit, I mean, this guy is a magnificent male physique and specimen.
But Phantom, I felt like Phantom Outsider. Who could take him seriously wearing a skirt like that? His whole costume.
Not a skirt. It's a tunic.
It's
a tunic.
Well, the whole thing looks kind of silly.
That's
1930
sci-fi.
Leather
it's being
pants?
Traditional.
Well,
yes,
he has pants down there, but
and he's wearing jack boots, which is a problem. But that's another story for another day.
Yeah, that's different.
I did have a question. I know we don't have a lot of time left. I did have a question for everybody else here. Why did Buck not go with the lady at the end who gave him the necklace with the image of it's a family show.
But
okay.
I won't say what it is. You're talking about after the big kiss he gives her, right?
Yes. She admired him. She loved him. She was beautiful. There was no duress around the situation. And he's like, no, I got to go.
Yeah. Well, you just.
Did anyone get why? I was just generally confused.
Well, I assumed it's his feelings for Wilma, but I will say that kiss that the two of them shared at the end, I'm like, okay, that's not just a, hey, I know you like me and thanks for the beautiful necklace. Gotta go now because I got this other chick.
Yeah.
That was a hello.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. However,
the two actors.
Yeah,
but
Daisy
pulled it off.
Go ahead, Daisy.
The whole thing with him kissing the fake Jennifer, which we talked about last week, that was much bigger. So what the hell does this chick have that Jennifer didn't have? The fake Jennifer, or Ardella, or it's just I'm actually with JT here. I don't get it either. I don't get it.
No, not with that kind of a kiss goodbye.
Well, Go ahead.
I don't know. As the female on the group, if a guy kisses you like that and you're willing, and she was, that seemed like an odd. Okay, goodbye, kiss, goodbye, and I'm out of here. I don't get it either.
Yeah, it wasn't goodbye from either one.
No, it wasn't.
And I thought there definitely was going to be a pew pew going on later.
It was until next time. Until next time, Kiss. That's what it was. But we have to recognize that the people producing the show probably were intending an eventual situation, in quotation marks, shall we say, with Wilma and Buck, and they had to leave room open for that.
Yeah.
Or
they seem so into each other. I would hide from Princess Ardala because there's going to be a jealousy battle cruiser showing up at your planet real soon. You know what I mean?
Oh,
Yeah,
there's the belt, though.
Yeah, the belt. The lady on the right.
Lisa agrees with you, though, too.
Yes, a lingering kiss, Lisa. You know exactly what I'm talking about. It was a lingering kiss. It actually lasted longer than any other kiss in any other episode of this show.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
Yep.
It did.
Well, I know Daisy's got to get ready to leave us, but Daisy, we're going to go ahead and let Daisy grade it. We'll go ahead and keep talking, JT and Hungry, as if you want to go a little bit further.
I was just going to, really quick, the lady on the right, this is not a good representation of this dress, but that was a very sci-fi-esque princess dress to me.
Yes.
Mm-hmm.
Yes. Daisy.
You know, when you went into, the other planet and the princess of that planet or the queen of that planet with this halo thing kind of around her head and then the very high cut up the side. Yeah, that
there we go.
The whole that whole aesthetic was also very sci-fi to me.
Yes,
so.
And
in
very,
this particular
very
shot,
1940s and 50s. Yes,
she has beautiful eyes. I'm just going to say that this actress,
yes,
just
she does, and
a classic look here.
And she's the head of the
eye makeup. They did the eye makeup on her very good to accentuate how beautiful those eyes are.
And Daisy, she is the head of the harem, which means she is the first wife. You know what I mean? First wife, not second, not third. And so she is going to look the best. She's going to have the best clothing, and the Trebor is going to be, in a way, paying deference to her. And that was shown very much in this episode.
Yeah, she wasn't treated like the others.
No.
She was definitely number one. Yeah.
She was Mrs. Dadman.
You joke about that. Yeah, obviously.
He's like, listen, you joke about that, but actually.
You joke about that. In high school, I had 5 different girlfriends, all ranked 1 to 5 in the group that we had.
I get you. Okay.
So I was asked who number 1 was to 4. So anyway, it's funny.
And Mrs. Dadman became the head of the harem and then destroyed the harem.
Exactly. But like Lisa says, better to be number 1 than number 2. Absolutely.
Yes.
Mrs. Trebor. Yes. All right. Okay, Daisy. What grade would you give? What would you give the grade on this one?
I wasn't as much of a fan of this one. I mean, there were parts of it that were very interesting, and then the end was really hard to get past the ending because you expected there to be this really cool battle, and we bring Tweaky, and that was cute. And all he did was he finally fires the electricity, and Buck fires it back through Tweaky, and fine, yay. So that is very difficult. When the ending is not satisfactory, it's very hard to look at the rest of it and just go, oh yeah, okay. I'll just the rest of it was okay.
Oh, like Jacob's Ladder? Yes, true. Go ahead.
Yeah, it's very difficult for me. So I would just say it was rather average to me. I liked the other one better. The other one was more entertaining than this one. This was more sci-fi. And I usually lean towards the sci-fi, but I wasn't interested in the sci-fi aspects, and I had a lot of trouble with the electrical things under his skin, and that all just threw me off as well. So I'm going to give it a C-.
Oh, okay. Very interesting. All right. Well, Daisy, do you want to say anything about your channel? Liam, I know Liam passed by earlier. I don't know how I got call him out, but I did say hi. But yeah, you want to say anything about you and what Liam's got going on?
We are trying to where we are visiting. There's rain intermittently. We are going to try to do a live stream hopefully out at the Pacific Ocean. If that doesn't work, then inside the edge of the San Francisco Bay. We're not going to go out in the water, because that's closer than the ocean is. And we'll put that on Twitter. Otherwise, we stream on Twitter on Thursdays afternoons at 3:30 p.m. Pacific time in the United States. And we do games. This week, we're probably going to play the game Pal World, and we're going to see if I can actually play this video game.
I've heard all about that game.
More than slightly entertaining to watch me try to play this complicated a 3-dimensional game. That
I sure want to see you play a game.
Come see little old lady and laugh at her. Try and make the character move, because that's what's going to happen.
Don't say that. No, Daisy, no. But
boomer. I'm going to boomer it because I am a boomer.
Oh, but
I put the link out there for your channel, so go follow Liam Grey Wolf with Daisy. But yeah, go ahead, Hungry.
Daisy, you are not a boomer. You're Gen X. There's a difference, and I get really irritated.
I'm a boomer. No, I'm sorry, and yes, I know the difference, and I actually am a baby boomer, not Gen X. Yes, I am.
Wow.
I told you I am a little old lady.
Okay, all right. But since you're a little old lady, since you're a little old lady, okay, and you're a sci-fi little old lady, okay? Sci-fi little old lady. Here is one thing I would like to ask you about for this episode before you go.
Yes.
One thing that's good about the script, and little old ladies who like sci-fi enjoy proper script writing. Yes?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Did you like, or did you think it is accurate that there was a balance of the concept regarding the script between Buck and the Trebor? Because Buck is a fake Roshan, and the Trebor is also fake because he got his powers due to the aliens who are made of electricity, and then he gathered his electrical powers. Did you like that juxtaposition between them?
I did. That was interesting, that they were both fake, and that they each of them knew that about the other. Buck made that very clear when the Trebor was trying to be, I'm going to beat you and all that sort of thing. And Buck's like, yeah, and we all know how you're going to do that. Because you're faking it. You don't have real powers. You did this, wired yourself and voodoo and God only knows what to make this happen. And Buck made it very clear that he wasn't the Voshan. Was that what the word was?
Yes, the Roshan.
Yeah. And he was not totally pretending to be that. He wanted the people of that planet to win, quote unquote, win or stand up on their own without him needing to be this fake leader for them.
Which he said to them at the end, even though he didn't want to.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
Well, Buddy, I agree. It comes down to, well, if Ray can do it, why can't he? That's the answer to everything. So,
oh, good. Let's not discuss Ray, please.
Right, but I did like you said, the way that ending was, Twiki was the most grounded character on the whole episode. The way he turned it back, and then it became a physical fight. So, so that just was.
It wasn't a fight to the death either.
It was not. It was kind of, and everybody had their posses there, so that's not really a duel. But hey, Balzette said to you that power could be a struggle because, not because they got server issues. Yeah, I'm sure it's very in demand and things like that. So
hey, Daisy,
Lisa gives you hugs.
Before you go, it was a fight to the death of credulity.
I guess so. Yes.
Yes.
Fight to the death of wearing weird outfits.
Oh, they were good outfits. But they're sci-fi outfits. We have we got to look at the tunic. We're talking about the piping again.
This
yes,
that thing.
That is very sci-fi. That is true. That is sci-fi, but not what.
That looks like a gladiator. That looks like a Roman centurion who lost his armor and the arms and neck armor.
It looks like an old curtain from Bed Bath and Beyond.
Oh, dude!
A Jedi with no undershirt.
You young people got no respect. But that's okay.
That is, I will say the pattern is very 1970s. The pattern is, yes.
But I really love this jumpsuit that Buck is wearing here. Dadman had the cursor on for a moment.
Yeah, I love that.
I mean, that's a lovely outfit. I mean, to be honest, it looks a little bit like Return of the Jedi. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the costumes. I have to say, I love the costumes in this episode. I really do.
But for all the ladies out there, bring your friends.
Yes,
Dadman likes to entertain the ladies here too. She's looking at the arms. We know that.
And those triceps, and I'm sure that JT knows what I'm talking about. Triceps are actually much harder to build up and tone.
Yeah, that took a lot of work. I mean, deltoids and biceps, they can go, but getting those triceps to look like they looked in this episode. Oh, dude, and
he did a
lot of people can never do it. They don't have the genetics for the tone and the definition. So you have to have that. And then this guy, it's been years. And he's been doing it correctly. A lot of people get to the gym and they don't work the triceps as much because everybody, if you don't know anything, you think the biceps are the be all end all, and then you end up with this really weird looking arm. So,
and also,
I would not want to mess with this dude. Versus a bigger bicep, I would not want to mess with him.
The exercises that make the tricep look right are very specific, and a lot of people don't know those exercises. And this guy either had the right trainer or he knew it himself, Mr. William Smith, who was, by the way, in Any Which Way You Can, the sequel to Every Which Way But Loose. And he's been in bit parts and significant parts for more than 40 years. This guy was a veteran actor, and you have to admit, this is for Daisy before she goes. Did you not enjoy? Well, I mean, it's going to be up to you. Did you or did you not enjoy how rough his voice was in regards to playing the bad guy? His voice is quite rough.
Voice. Yes, he had a proper amount of the gravel kind of.
The gravel, yes.
The gravel. Yeah.
Yep. All right. Well, Daisy, thank you so much for joining us. Join us next Friday night. We're planning on, we're not closing off right now, but Daisy will be back with us next Friday night. Yay. And actually, at the end of February, Daisy and I are going to get back to our At the Movies, and we're planning on talking about Galaxy Quest this month.
Oh, God.
Yep. Yes, we are.
Exactly. So hope to join us for that. And you have a good evening, Daisy, and we will talk to you next time.
Thank you.
Evening, Daisy.
On the panel. Yes. And goodbye, chat.
Nighty-o, Daisy.
Bye.
All right.
Bye.
Master says the bloke wears my uncle's morning coat, my aunt's wig. I think we saw the kind of happen Christmas 1977 in Germany. Lisa said he sure looks healthy.
Yes, Lisa, he does.
Yeah, and Fan Mount Soda said he was one of the Black Widow bikers in Every Which Way But Loose. Oh, so, yes. Lisa likes the pick of Galaxy Quest. Cool.
So, Dadman,
so
you're y'all want to go, right?
Yeah, whatever y'all want to go with the rest of this before we give our ratings, I'm up for.
So, Dadman, one thing I did want to say was, I did have fun figuring out how to circumvent this guy's really lame superpower.
What is with the hands though? Every bad guy has a superpower with the hands. This guy with the blue flame of electricity. We had Jack Palance's red flaming hands, and we had the other guy with the stone hands. It's like, imagine if they, like Buddy Hepburn, made the joke about the pew-pews. What they had a different part of the body with the power.
Hands are very emotive, and it requires less work by the actor than to do it with some other part of the body.
True.
Well,
Lisa, yes, Human Torch.
Mine could have been left to the imagination, but I got
Thank you, Lisa. Exactly. Thank you, Lisa. Fantastic Four, flame on! Thank you, Lisa. Thank you.
But yeah, it's something that I noticed is like every when it's the supernatural guys, it's always the hands. Occasionally telekinetic. We had the one with the gangsters with Frank Gorshin episode there, where you had a couple of I don't want to say psychotic, but the telekinetic people, that were there. But generally, most of the bad guys have involved powers with their hands and shooting or emitting things from it. So,
so I had fun trying to figure out how to circumvent this dude. Not that it would be very difficult.
Throw a bucket of water on him.
Well, I wouldn't even need to do that. That would actually potentially increase his transmissibility of this electricity. Which, by the way, the distance he stood from would make it much more difficult than if he had just stood even a little bit closer. But I thought, well, if I didn't have a rubber suit, because they don't have rubber plants likely in the future, which creates all kinds of other issues. But to stay on topic here, all I would take is some metal cable and ground myself on something.
Good one.
I don't even need Twiki with all this magic that they did to him. You know, you don't need Twiki at all. Just carry a metal wire with you, tie it onto something else, and you're grounded.
Yeah,
that's
but
all you need to defeat this guy.
I think that I'm a little more forgiving in that probably I don't know the science as well as you, but it's also it allows for the cool use of everybody's really favorite, probably next to Wilma Deering of this whole series, is Twiki. You know, it gave them a way to use Twiki to help resolve the conflict or deal with the foreseen perceived obstacle. You know that, and I think that's where it. At least to me, it hit was because, you know, it gave one more chance to see Twiki actually do something and be useful, not just standing on the sideline. I agree with what you're saying, and it's true. There's all that's true, but you know, for TV, for entertainment purposes, keep it fresh. You know, let's let the walking robot that sounds really funny, you know, come out and have a hand in winning it. At least that's the way I looked at it from the standpoint that they probably looked at it from. They could have gone the other way you mentioned.
Lisa.
Hit him with a wood stick. Comment. It's not conductive. Oh, yeah. There's all kinds of non-conductive materials that Buck could have worn that weren't like, what was it? Saturday Night Disco or whatever you guys called it. But I did like the pew pew guns at the end.
Yes.
The little carbine rifles. I thought those looked cool. I did really laugh at the eccentric collector scientist who said it was an early prototype of a phase pistol or something, and it was a blow dryer, and they hadn't figured out how it worked yet.
Yes.
Aside from the fact that blow dryers are not that complicated, and if you had a college degree in engineering, you'd know how it worked. But
I mean, the whole
was a funny joke.
The whole thing in that episode is hilarious because we've got more than 4 centuries going on. This is the archive. Wilma is sent down to the archive. This is all the archive has. But one thing that I loved about it was we had a lunch pail box, or you guys just called it a lunch box. We had a piñata, and we had a wooden and brass coffee grinder there.
Yes.
And so that was worth it for me. You know, that made the whole scene worth it. But the whole thing that's ridiculous is, I mean, the containment amount of that room is less than a 1976 school bus. And this is all they have? This is all they have in containment in an archive?
Right.
That is just hilarious. But it worked for the show. It really did. Yes. And it was so funny. It really was.
Yeah, absolutely.
I mean, the lunch pail box killed me. They had to stick that in there. That was just fantastic. But, you know, the idea of a piñata that is made back in the 1980s somehow surviving when it's made out of organic materials and candy to the 25th century, it's not even remotely possible. Not remotely possible. But, hey, why not? Why not?
Oh, my goodness. Any other thoughts that you had? I like the ending. I like the shooting. I like the pew pew. That really had even earlier in the episode when the guy he's got to sound like friggin' Anakin Skywalker. No, he's got to stand trial. You know, crap, and then the 4 guys are cannon fodder because Commander Guy wouldn't shoot, and take out the bad guy when they had a chance. So all 4 of them got pew-pewed, and then he survives. And it just, but we got the pew-pew there, which was cool. We got a great pew-pew at the end, which really I've been complaining the last few weeks. Really not a lot of pew-pew either in space or whatever, but we had some really good action there.
Well, we do have some aspects of the dialogue in the script that you probably won't like. For example, Yankee ingenuity, fab line, but not for south of the Mason-Dixon.
Yeah, I know. I was like, oh, Dadman, I can help you out with this one if you need.
That's okay.
We're kidding you, man.
I know you are. I know you are. You guys are. That's why the ladies like the guys with the southern draws. So, but hey,
there are some really good dialogue lines here for the script. I mean, one of the ones that I absolutely adore is, "As you can see, I am unarmed," and Buck replies, "In a manner of speaking," because he knows the guy's a faker. He's a faker. He's absolutely a faker. And Buck is being a faker, but Buck isn't. He's doing the faking because he has to, where, the Trebor is doing the faking because he wants to. And that is actually really good screenwriting, to have that balance, that essence of the pendulum swings one way, it swings back. That's really good to see in 1979, 1980 television. But I would like to say number 2, I swear that if there was a sponsor for this episode, it was probably Prell. And number 2, I mean, we have the power of the Trebor referred to as Surge, and then Surge would become a comics book character in 2004 with essentially the same powers as the Trebor. So Glenn Larson rips off from comic books, and then comic books rip off from Glenn Larson, and I think that's beautiful.
Yep. All right.
One thing I did want to bring up on a different topic, and we kind of mentioned it before.
Well, we specialize in the French down south here too, Lisa.
Nice one,
the Southern man did not quit. Anyway, we never surrender. Oh, Max Redstone's here. Hey, Max! Flash. Oh, hero of the universe. Good to see you, Max. So, oh gosh, we still got 11 people with us tonight watching. We've actually got a new sub tonight. We're at 571. Thank you, everybody.
There's a part of this that I feel like we haven't. Oh, what? Sorry, Dadman.
Well, wait. Lisa's like phrasing it. No, I said exactly what I meant. I'm gonna fight this. I'm gonna fight it all back again. Yeah, damn straight. It's like Leonard Skinner said, no Southern man didn't need no young around anyhow. So anyway, sorry. Okay, JT, I'm going off on squirrels right now. But go ahead.
One of the things that I liked about this episode that we briefly kind of went by, but I thought we need to talk about this was the way that Buck was referring to his role as, and I forget what they call it, not the Trebor, but the other one. Rashawn. Thank you. That was the most science fiction Kirk reminiscent that I've ever seen Buck be on this entire show. And I really liked it. He doesn't get points for violating the Prime Directive, but the way that he immediately did not shun their beliefs, but also did not try to use it for his advantage. And then at the end, he did not insult their beliefs, but he told them that they possess the tools for their own way of keeping a better way of life, and that they must defend it to keep it, and that they have the ability to do so. The way that he acted in the way that he was written in those two, I thought it was James T. Kirk on the screen.
Nicely said.
And I liked that in this episode. For all the things that I may have complained about, the stupid electric stuff, it's just an interesting thing about this show that you'll get both of those in the same thing. But if we get that in season 2, I'll be really excited. Yeah.
See, I think that you're very important, and those are. I mean, we laugh and joke a lot and stuff too, but that's where you see the seriousness of the character. It gives him weight and presence. That he's not a flake. That he's not just a snowball quote hero that happens to luck into everything, and he does stuff with a reason and a purpose. Like we talked about the way he kissed the chick at the end. He probably was one of those. And who wouldn't be in the moment like that if you're a guy? Just speaking honestly. But you also know that you got, probably something, your heart's somewhere else, or you also want to be careful not to let somebody down too hard. There's more to the guy than what you see. It's easy to make rash judgments and stuff. And we've got a complicated character here that's really got many deep facets to him, but at the core is deep down a good old type comic book hero. He's just a good all-American guy that mom apple pie and the flag, And you see that in all these. Go ahead.
To back you up, Buck is the kind of guy. Let's say that either of us, since Daisy's not here, let's say we were gals. Okay, Buck is the kind of guy your mother would be happy for you to bring home and say, "This is my new guy. I'm thinking of marrying him." Your mom would have no problem marrying Buck.
Your mom might push you out of the way to try to get to him herself, but I mean, hey.
Yeah. Especially up north there. Yeah.
Sorry, you were on a serious point.
Yeah.
Hungry. Sorry for breaking that up.
That was perfect. That was awesome.
No, I love that. But I mean, the other thing too is we have the character of the woman that Buck kisses. All right, Viol. All right. And oh dear, I mean, if she had a superhero character name, it would be Madame Prozac. In the way that she goes through this episode, her acting was not up to Gil Gerard's or not up to any of the other female actresses in this episode. She was sleepwalking through this episode.
Was it
Elizabeth Stack is her name?
Not this one, right? It was.
No, that's the sister.
Okay,
the one who gets kidnapped.
Okay. There she is, this character, right?
Yes. Okay. And I mean, I like the way the character was written, but the actress herself was not living up to her script. She was not. And I accept that. That happens a lot. Men do not act up to their scripts at all. It's not a genderist point of view whatsoever. But I mean, she was just like, "Oh my God, Joe, come back, I love you." It was kind of that kind of attitude. And when she was attempting, as the actress, attempting to cry for her abducted sister, we hear her crying and it's terrible. I mean, the sound effects are terrible. And then Buck goes into the bedroom and her face is dry. Her face is dry. There is no emotion on her face at all until Buck gently cradles her and says, "It'll be okay. We will get this done." But just, oh no. There's a reason why she basically had no ongoing roles in television. And she did bit parts here and there. But and that's just, something about this show, Buck Rogers. Aside from her, they bring in the best actresses. They really do. I mean,
Jamie Lee Curtis. We've got Marky Post. Yeah, we got Marky Post.
Pamela Hensley as Ardala. Fantastic.
Well, I mean, I'm just taking a look at the guest female
Erin
actress.
Gray. Wow.
But I'm just thinking that they're even knocking it out of the park with the guest. We know that it's easy to point Erin Gray and even the major, some of the non-recurring regular characters.
True.
Were really good, but the guest stars come in. But yeah, you can't hit a home run every time. But yeah, I know what you say. You can see.
I wouldn't ask you, but I just think that the director was being a bit light with her in this one. He could have asked for a bit more out of her, and that's what directors are supposed to do.
Yeah,
that's all.
Okay. Well, it makes sense to me.
But the interior, looking at this, here's another mention. The interior set designs in these are fantastic compared to the other ones. I mean, this is not just pure comic books, it's pure sci-fi. And the set designs, particularly in the Trebor Command Center, shall we say, great, magnificent, just gorgeous.
Well,
and
on your point about emails, though, Phantom Outsider's ahead of us. Next week, we get Julie Newmar.
Oh, yes. That's going to be fantastic stuff.
So, exactly. But yeah, we, hey, it really, that's where this series, you know, like I said, I get distracted with the pew-pews a lot sometimes. And I base it on pew-pews, but the way you know, you got a great hero, you got deep, you know, they do different things with this. And so, like I said, I thought both of these episodes were really, really good tonight.
Yeah.
And better written, not as so scattered as some of the others have been. I thought this one had a good plot line. I did have some gaps, like how magically they got in the castle fortress and then magically walked out with the harem, and it's like, yeah. But you know, it was not bad. I think overall as a plot line, except for at the end, the duel became we brought our posses to the, you know, OK Corral, instead of it really truly being one-on-one, like kind of was in the title. But again, still deal with that. We got some pew-pews to compensate for that. Overall, a really good, I thought, solid put together episode all around. Well acted, well written, of course, obviously. So the vision of home decor sucked. Yeah. You know, so that, well, no, I think Teague's right in a way, because look at the furniture. It's all damn blue.
No. This is one of the only times I'm going to strongly disagree with Teague, because I've had to design this stuff myself for illustration. I really enjoyed it. I thought it was appropriate to the old style Buck Rogers, which we talked about in the first episode. Before we talked about any of the television, we talked about the history of Buck Rogers being a newspaper strip, and then a comic book, and then a television show. Then a serial, and then a television show. And I think that visually it lived up to its background in this particular episode. So I agree with almost everything that Admiral says, but I don't agree with him here. And if JT would like to comment on that, I'd love to hear it. JT?
I did. Well,
you didn't like it.
I did not like it. To me, it's reminds me of IKEA furniture.
Oh,
way too low to the ground in the room.
Whoa.
If you want my opinion on it, that's fine.
What about the throne? What about the Trebor's throne, man?
Let's see. I'm trying to recall what it actually looked like.
It was a bit tall, and it had the gold lame sheet over it.
Let's see. I'm going to have to look that up.
No, don't do that. That's a waste of time.
Yeah, I don't think I've got that in any of the stock footage that came through on this one. So, no.
I did like the use of those lamps on this set, though. I will say that. You know, sometimes some of this stuff looks kind of tacky, but the minimalist way that they tried to help the lighting in the room was helpful. A lot of times we do see for the little metal dude,
Lisa.
That's right. I thought about this.
The reason why I kind of say the Adidas wallpaper.
Yes, Max. I'm sorry, JT. That's like okay. Go ahead. Please finish your point. I'm sorry.
I'm over 6 foot tall, almost 2 meters for the metric folks. So, you know, I can't really get anything from IKEA because it's all way too short, and I don't know how they.
You hate our house.
Swedish people are supposed to be tall.
You couldn't survive in our house.
I mean, I want IKEA stuff because all the other people in my generation just shop at IKEA. But then, like, you try to look at it, and I'm like, it's how high? No, if I sit and don't fall, I'm never getting back up out of that. Anyway, So that's why I use IKEA derisively here. But as I was saying earlier, a lot of the sets don't have windows. In fact, hardly anything has a window, even a fake window. And so when they can get some extra lighting, like what's behind Buck, I think it's helpful. And they picked lighting that looks futuristic, but yet minimal at the same time. It's not 60s, 70s crazy where you look at it now and you're like, oh my gosh, melt that thing down.
Well, we did have windows in the previous episode, but they were terrible, and the effects of the stars and the starscape in the previous episode were just deplorable. I mean, they're worse than like 1965 Lost in Space. Worse than that. But here, I would rather have no windows than bad windows. You know what I mean?
Yeah. What is the flooring? That's what kind of was throwing me for one. How do the walls and the floor get to be the same color like that?
I can't answer that.
It throws off the eye, or it does to me anyway.
Yeah, it does. Okay, fair enough. Don't make me change my mind on this episode the way Dadman and Appion made me change my mind on Fifth Element. Please don't do that. But yes, I see what you're saying. But how did you feel about the costuming in general?
I like what Buck's wearing right there.
Yes.
Some of the harem choices of wardrobe I thought were a little JC Penney for what
I Dream of Jeannie.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The newest member of the harem that was coming in, I thought she was actually the least attractive one in the room, and they dressed her up in clothes that were not flattering, and she may have looked more attractive in something else. Nitpicking, I know, but other than that, I didn't mind it. I thought they did a little bit better than they've done some other weeks, but again, the wigs really distracted me on everything. The hair, the wigs, the static, the one of the actresses that needed a brushing before going on the set. I don't know how many takes they did because her hair was all frizzy and staticky and,
Yeah. I get it. No, I totally get it. Oh, dude. Oh, but how did you feel about the Trebor's battle costume where he was in mainly the leather and the tunic and the jackboots? How did you feel about that?
That kind of stuff, I don't know. I'd appreciate something a little bit more functional.
I
don't feel like it was. I would like to see more gladiator Romanesque type wear, and he did not wear that. It looked like he was wearing something while he was hanging out with the harem too much, and he got off his fat ass off the couch and went out there and was like, I gotta go electrocute some other dude now.
You can't say fat ass. That dude was in shape, man. Especially he was pushing 60 when he did this.
I know, but mentally, the attitude of it,
the fat ass attitude. The fat ass attitude.
No, like I'm going to get off my fat ass and go do something. Like he was sitting around watching TV all day and having these women like feed him fruit or something while he's all. I'm the leader of this plant. It's just
they were doing his nails. Dude.
But dude,
it's
but
weird.
Look,
5 different colors of nail treatment.
Well, look, you got brown, avocado green, burnt orange, and safety yellow for all the furniture and stuff.
Yeah,
so it was kind of future. If you were around for shag carpeting, this stuff probably looks pretty normal. So
just killing me. You guys are killing me tonight. But would you agree at least that this episode was something more to offer us than the previous 2 episodes we reviewed?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And so I'm going to give this ultimately a higher score than I did the last episode. And for the reason I was talking about how Buck was treating this entire planet and how he was, doing all of that. And the one thing I may say he may not have cared as much about was the recruiters for him. Misunderstood him to be kind of like a bounty hunter or like a man for hire in a way. I think he would have made a plan that would have helped the planet and not been about rescuing like we saw 5 women in there, as much as their lives are important, and I don't want to imply that they're not. I think he would have looked at this and said, we can't have an entire planet and an entire people done this way. And if the harem got in the way, so be it. I really do think that's how he would have probably been if this had been maybe spent a little bit more time in the editing room. I just think that's who Maura Buck is. They didn't do it that way because it's easier to relate to 5 people in front of you than an entire planet.
So we talked about this. He was constructed as a mobile electric foot heater and only wanted to offer service. What about the blow dryer that we saw with the extension cord? It was like an early laser gun, and it was like
He'd be in demand, let me tell you, at an airport. And people just walk up to him and be like, "My phone's low, man. Can I, can you touch it for a second?"
Yes. Buddy Hepburn's dad, Brian, has beanbag chairs. He loves beanbag chairs. So at least it says, "I'm sorry."
I hear you.
I like beanbag chairs, though. If you get some, I'd love to have them around our house if we had a larger living room. But our house is pretty small, so you have to economize on furniture, and that's where IKEA comes in great. But we get more furniture, this episode, and the little dude can sit on the furniture. So I just love that. But hey, but are there any other points, guys, you want to talk about? You want to go ahead and grade it, or is there anything else we need to kick around with this episode?
I have 1 point, but I'd like to hear JT's points first.
Okay, JT.
JT.
I think you muted. Well, let's go ahead. Let's go ahead and hear your point then, Hungry, while we're waiting for him.
Okay, so William Smith is the guy who plays Trebor.
Right.
And in this episode, he is a perfect comic booky villain. He's replete with science fiction powers based on an alien race. They establish this, an alien race who were made out of electricity. So you have a fake scar, you got his outfit, you got his physique, got his voice acting powers. And you have somebody who is able to do something that is basically a comic book villain. And I think that, plus the fact he's coming from, they established in the episode 17 Trebors, a generational line of 17 Trebors. This is absolutely fantastic comic book stuff and science fiction stuff, and therefore I'm going to grade it higher than I normally would.
Okay. Let's get. So what would you say?
Oh, for me, this is an A, not an A minus, not an A plus, but it is one of my top 7 episodes.
Awesome.
I love it.
That is good. So I will go until JT gets back, but I like this episode. I would, let's see, I know on the popcorn sound last show I did 4 out of 5. I think with this one I'd call it probably a 3.5 out of 5.
Nice.
Not a bit above average. It had some of its stuff. I mean, it very close to 4 bucket, but it was still very, it was entertaining. It was not dull like some of the other ones. It could have been, a couple things that I disagree with, but overall still a good show. Acting was really good, except for a couple places. It just was really a good solid episode beginning to end. And it's like it has reasonable plot, carries it over, introduces characters, and it has a good ending. And I tell you, he also had a noble ending. Buck did. With the speech to the people to basically take care of themselves. You're free. It really, really. Again, we see the character of Buck Rogers shining through. And a chance where he could become an the top hero, savior, set himself up but he doesn't. He stays humble, stays for the peace and freedom, and for doing right by people, and to let them decide themselves, not to be told what to do. So that's overall where I like it. Master said the green suit was missing, so because if they had the green suit in from the last episode, Masters would have been okay with it.
I like the green suit, but I mean, I
just didn't like the adult actors.
I think
he was talking about the guy in the hallway. He was talking about the one guy in the hallway that I showed earlier. Do you remember that picture?
No, I don't.
Well, I'll go back to it. If JT's here, we can go back to JT, but I'll go ahead and show this picture from the previous episode.
I thought you were talking about Wilma's green suit.
No.
Amazing.
I don't know. No, because I think what he was talking about was in the hallway.
Oh.
I showed the picture earlier that was
the girl with the fake John Ritter. Thank you, buddy.
Yeah, the girl with the fake John Ritter. Exactly. So, but we'll see what here. Let's see here. We'll get
previous episode. Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, because I'll show you. Because this is when he responded about the green suit. Was after I showed this picture here. Olympiad. I just flipped down past Olympiad. Oh gosh, that brought back memories. So, but
Olympiad.
Let's see
I'm glad we're past Olympiad, and I'm glad we're talking about these episodes tonight. Yeah.
It's actually, let's see, in here, it's actually. Let me see if I can blow it up first before I get to it. Yeah.
I mean, while you're looking, that is one of the only problems with this episode is we had almost no Wilma. We had almost that awful piece of crap.
Yeah, these are the two kids that's hauled off in the Bucks fighter. Yeah, the girl with the fake John Ritter.
But this brings up something that is a problem with this episode. Almost no Wilma. She's really not present in this episode. And this is one of the reasons why we come back to Buck Rogers, is for Wilma, is for Erin Gray. Now, she does have some really good camera angles, if you know what I mean, in this episode. But they're very minimal. But at least we had the scene when she goes into the archive. That was magnificent. That was a great scene with her and the person in the archive.
Right. I think JT's back. JT, you back?
Yay.
Yes, I am.
Yep. All right. Yay! So where are the graded? But while the way Lisa gets the F for the night, what is John Ritter?
Lisa, come on. You know John Ritter, star of Three's Company. You know John Ritter.
I thought he was the dad on Problem
reboot.
Child.
He was also in the BSG reboot.
I didn't see him. I didn't notice him there.
He was one of the big characters. Oh gosh, the name is getting away from me, and I'm gonna get it here.
I loved him in Problem Child as the dad. Junior.
I'm going to apologize, JT, because I did not watch the reboot of BSG. I didn't watch it.
Wow. Wait a second. Buddy likes the raspy voiced evil space vampire Wilma.
Yeah, that was good. Wow. We talked about that. Space Vampire. Great episode. Jack Tripper,
Master's saying Hungry Boy behaved, which awful piece of crap. That's a wonderful, very culture, modern, and refreshing. Mr. Furley.
Oh, no. You know what? He wasn't on the reboot. I don't think he was on the reboot. He just
Lisa thought
the guy that was
Lisa
on the
thought
reboot.
There was okay, got it now. Okay, gotcha. But okay, JT. So, what did you think overall with this episode?
Lisa. Oh, that's terrible, but I love it.
There were definitely some pretty big, strong points. Working in its favor. I am still angry about the antagonist. However,
why?
I don't know if I could put it in my top 7. I will give it 11 volts out of 12. There you go.
Okay, why are you rating it so low? Why?
11 out of 12?
Yeah.
That's high.
I know. I'm just kidding you.
Coming up at our door.
Just the
Get ready for.
But I mean, honestly, I thought William Smith did a great job with the script he was given, and they had a guy who actually had the musculature to be the villain that he was pretending to be. Yeah. I think that was great for this episode. And then he has, this guy, he brings a laser rifle to the final confrontation with Buck, and he knows he's going to throw it away in order to force Buck to confront him physically. But Buck is on the same situation. And Buck he's got his laser rifle. He's going to throw it away. I mean, the script in this is so much better than most of the episodes we've been looking at for the past 5 episodes of reviewing this show. I mean, really, this was a well-written episode of Buck Rogers compared to what we've been looking at for, the past 4 times.
Well, no, I slightly disagree because I did like, even though I prejudged Space Rockers and that first damn scene was traumatic.
Okay.
Like bad flashbacks to Safety Dance with overacting to music. But I thought that episode was a really well written one. I think tonight we had 2 well written episodes that maybe sort of hokey considering we're 40 years later, 50 years later in some ways, but really though we're good episodes and we're solid and it gave us something good to watch and not a little kid president guy running around trying to pull pranks on everybody and stuff. And and just not, I mean, I really like these 2 episodes tonight.
Agreed. Okay, again, changing my mind like Fifth Element. Agreed.
I mean, it doesn't say a lot for what we've been watching the last few weeks because I know a couple of weeks were very painful. It's like, oh boy. But tonight's were actually refreshing for this. So
good.
Oh, Masters
you cannot win them all. You cannot win them all. When you have a show that runs for more than 8 episodes in what they laughingly call a season, you will have good ones and you will have bad ones and you'll have some in the middle. That's just how it goes.
Well, Masters gives him 13 of 12 as Electric Man spit in the face of my physics teacher and finally confirmed all his theories I never got rewarded for. Oh, which one was wearing the ring of the Schwartz? That's the important question.
Nice.
Buddy says, what you talking about, Dad Man?
Buddy. Nice joke.
That's awesome. We still got 12 people watching with us right now. Thank y'all, everybody. This is quite great. Thank y'all for your support tonight. Appreciate everybody that is out there now tonight. We've really enjoying this series review, and we actually have one more episode in season 1. 2 episodes, but one more week. Well, 2 episodes, but we got one more week next week where we've got it's a 2-parter actually. So,
yes.
Yep.
So in my collection, it's treated as a one long episode.
See, in mine it's a 2-parter.
Yeah.
All right. Well, any other thoughts about tonight's episode?
Yes, the weaponry design of the Cartarians was fab, but it needed better painting jobs. The lack of the painting jobs made them look like fun quality but lower quality toys or collectibles.
Right.
And so, we're looking at the science fiction aspects of things. Right. We got to look at the props.
Yeah, absolutely.
Paint or lighting or both, really.
Right.
I agree.
Yeah. Oh, cool. I will say I agree. I like the little laser rifles. They were not bad. I will say they were better to me, and I hope I don't insult Trek fans with this one again. But honestly, Star Wars had pistols, they had laser rifles, they had blasters, they had things like that.
Yes.
Trek, the original series, only had like the little phone phasers.
And they had 2 phasers. They had the phaser guns, and then they had the
phaser
communicators, which served.
Okay, the only ones I ever saw were
2.
like the little like Dr. Drug thing, the little thing with the little penny on it. end of it. I had that, and then the next generation had that like TV remote control ones because we had one of those, and they brought out laser rifles in one of the movies, which was really bizarre to me. But and feel free to correct me on those. I don't mind chasing a squirrel a little bit for this one, but I like the weapons, not just the pistols. I thought Buck's rifle had a good design. I thought where they had rifles, they were fairly realistic and actually good designs for the type of combat they were doing.
Well, fair enough. But Star Trek does have a lot of different weapons in it, so I don't know if I could agree with you on that one. Even if like I said, Trek fan.
I'm only like watched. I have not watched nearly to the extent that you have. I've only seen a few here and there, so it's a short sample size. So. But yeah, it's cool. What I saw was, I think it was one of the movies. I don't remember which one it was, where they were carrying the rifles on the planet. They just looked weird to me. Maybe it was because I'd not ever seen anything.
Sorry,
like that.
What?
What? Pardon? Hello? What?
Hello?
Are you there, Hungry?
Oh, damn it.
Yep. Mm-hmm.
Hungry?
Hello?
Can you hear us?
Yes.
We can hear you.
Oh, sorry. My earphones went buggy for a moment. Can you repeat that, please?
Okay, I'll try to. But basically, I when I've seen laser rifles in Star Trek, they look a little weird to me. I thought that these tonight looked really pretty well realistic and fit in type thing. That's kind of the short story of what I just talked about there. Now, if I'm wrong, if y'all feel differently, please, tell me what y'all think. Do you like the rifles in Star Trek? I've not seen them often, though. That's the problem. I'm only used to seeing there's so little pew pew so many times. It's like I pew pew. And I mean it with all due respect. It's that I've not watched enough to see these other weapons, but I do acknowledge that they are there. I mean, I'm missing something, obviously.
Well, they did. JT will know what I'm talking about. They did happen, and they were shown in one of the earliest TOS episodes where No Man Has Gone Before.
Okay.
And that looks magnificent.
And I've been told that that's one of the episodes to watch of all Star Treks.
Yes.
Right?
It's got Sally Kellerman in it. Okay. Dude. At her sexiest. Okay. Dude. Sally Kellerman. You must watch it. You must.
Who's Sally Kellerman?
Oh,
I know who it is. I just had to hear you all.
I plots for Sally Kellerman. Yep. I plots for Sally. Yep. But no, I adore her. I think she's great in everything. She was in The Outer Limits before she was in Star Trek. Yep. She has got science fiction acumen as an actress, and a lot of actresses do not respect science fiction. JT knows what I mean, and if Daisy was still here, she knows what I mean too. But she was willing to do science fiction, and she is willing to do the best science fiction. So when it comes to where No Man Has Gone Before, the fact that she's playing a major role in that means a lot to me, because she's showing faith to us, to people who love this material.
By the way, JT, Master said dematerialize me, disruptor for me. Star Wars has the cheap stuff. It's all good. But let's get your final thoughts on both episodes tonight and conclude, because I need to get to bed soon. Mark's going to live in a half an hour for whatever you call it, Fortnite. So, but I will probably have to pass tonight. But you guys have fun without me. But final thoughts on this episode tonight. Or both of these episodes, JT?
Let's see. I think I've pretty much wrapped it up, Dadman.
All right.
Yeah.
Cool. Hungry, any final thoughts?
Okay, well, the first one I thought was fantastic for an MST3K Riff Tracks kind of episode, although I liked it for various reasons apart from that.
Well, let me cut you off real quick right there, because see, a lot of times, because I want to add to what you're saying there, a lot of times people, when we say Riff Tracks or MST2K something, it automatically takes maybe on a connotation that, it's bad movie, it's horrible, it's cheesy. blah blah blah. But sometimes I think you can do it and respect a movie, because this one was so bad in some ways. It was good. It made good ref checks, but it was still a good episode. So
no, absolutely.
Yeah, exactly. And good night, Buzzette. We'll see you next time. Good to see you again.
Good night, Buzzette.
I just want to make that clarification there, because some people may think that when we say it's MST3K, we're completely trashing it. Well, not always.
No. And there are very good films that MST3K has had to trash, but they had to trash them because those were the selections of the films that were available to them. And so you can have something that's good but cheap, right? Yeah. That is MST3K. It doesn't mean it's bad. It just means it was done on the cheap. And science fiction in network television during the time of Buck Rogers had a very low budget compared to shows like Dallas or Dynasty or Magnum PI. And so when I say it's MST3K, I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying it's riffable. You can riff on it. You can make the jokes about it. And it's not the fault of Glenn A. Larson, and it's not the fault of Gil Gerard, and it's not the fault of Aaron Gray. It's just how much money was available at the time.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Is that a fair answer?
Yeah. Dadman? No, I believe it is a very fair answer. And it's an important clarification, because it's easy to come to that conclusion that they suck, that it's not good, or it's all disrespect. And it's truly not. It's truly not. So
no, it's not disrespect at all. And MST3K often, I mean, one of the big problems with MST3K, they did not want to do the feature-length movie from This Island Earth. And because they respected it so much. Max Redstone knows what I'm talking about. And it's considered one of the best science fiction movies ever made. So Trace Beaulieu, who played Crow, and Tom, Kevin O'Neill, who played Tom Servo, they did not want to actually riff the movie. And Frank Conniff was dead set against it. Yeah. But sometimes you got to riff what you're going to riff.
Yep, exactly. Max Redstone says Glenn Larson and Gary Larson present Space Cows. I like that. Well, folks, we're going to go ahead and call it a night here. Thanks for everybody being here. JT, Hungry Boy, thank you as always.
And thank you, sir.
We actually almost went 3 hours. We were actually an hour longer than I had said we would go. So, hey, and probably, and it felt natural, felt good. It's been a long day. I'm probably going to go collapse. We got on the road last night, got in about 9 and settled in. But 4 o'clock waking up in the morning with a bad back. It's like, need to get some sleep tonight, get some rest. Go see Mark in half an hour. Mark, JT, if you want to put Mark's link in there for that, please go check him out over there in the group playing Fortnite tonight. They'll be fun, have a lot of fun if you want some good fun and laughs and reactions to things. So please go support them. But also, we got a lot of stuff going on around here the next few days. Starting tomorrow, maybe during the day, if I decide to do a Fortnite stream, I don't know. We'll see. But tomorrow night, 6 p.m., we got Rod Thunderheart coming in with Big Riggin. We're going to talk some trucking, talk about his exercising. He's got a book he's working on, and it's his birthday tomorrow. So come say hi to Rod Thunderheart.
Oh, fantastic!
Tomorrow with us. Tomorrow, have a good time with us hanging out. Then also, let's see. Oh crap!
Happy birthday, Rod!
A new guest to the show, to the channel, will be Retro Nerd Girl. Yes, Yay. Tuesday night, 9 p.m.
Very cool.
We're going to have a nice talk and conversation. First time having her on.
Be prepared for apes. She loves the apes.
Oh, you Planet of the Apes?
Yes, she loves the Planet of the Apes. Be prepared for apes.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I'm sure I actually talked sometimes in passing or in chats about some of the old bad movies like Rad and some of the other ones that MST3K did, and it's kind of fun, really, really, really fun. So, yes, hope to see you all there for that one Tuesday night. So, of course, will be interesting getting back into our chilling stuff here in February. We got others coming up. This is our new date night Fortnite meme thumbnail tonight.
I love that.
So our friend, the great stunning and brave Megatron, he actually sent us the original art.
Oh,
and he did some pens and pencils and sent it to us with our flagship characters of our date night Fortnite, Bond, Peely, and Sock Monkey. And he sent that to us, and so the missus scanned it, incorporated it in here, and he's taken a lot of pride in doing this for us to it's our great characters, and we are,
and you are wearing a tux in that image, and that's good. That is Sean Connery, James Bond, right there. That is good.
Yeah. So exactly, that's why I wear it. Of course, I like bringing out the white jacket sometimes. So, but
white jacket. You wear white jackets too.
There's also a white jacket, Peely, but this is what he's famous for.
Very cool.
Exactly. So this was tonight at 6:30, but this will be at other times. But this is our new logo here. This can happen from time to time as we feel thing. Yeah, Max is reminding Lisa of the little metal guy. Sports Weekly with Dadman right now is on Wednesday nights with JT, Kirk, Sci-Fi, Mombi, and Whoopa Troopa with us. We're focusing on NFL football. The Super Bowl is coming up. This week we'll be previewing the Super Bowl game Wednesdays at 9 o'clock. Kansas City Chiefs and the San Francisco 49ers will be in this year's Super Bowl. I know. I almost said Detroit, but hey, I know, dude. I feel for you guys.
Yeah,
I wish y'all had done it, but hey, all right. So with that, also we're gonna have chill chats or something random for the next few weeks. They can happen during the month. The Fortnite with Fun with Dadman and Friends happens impromptu or as a get crews together as it happens. Also with the Late Night with Dadman and Friends, need to try to get more of these late night shits going, but a lot of things are working on this front. But when they happen, they're fun. They're all over the place and lots of fun. So also, live streams and VODs at youtube.com, twitch.tv, Dadman Walking 55, and also Twitter or X at Dadman Walking 55. Get your notifications on YouTube or Twitch, but also as a backup, follow me on Twitter to get all the notifications when I go live, because I always tweet out when I am live, I'm going live. So, and I'm going to say, see you next time. Lisa said, have a great night, everyone. But if you can make it over to Mark's channel for Fortnite in half an hour, please do that. But y'all, thank you again for a great stream. We still got 11 people hanging out with us at the end at 3 hours. We did it. We made 3 hours. Yoo-hoo! On that note, folks, y'all have a great night and a great day tomorrow, and hope to see you tomorrow night with Rod Thunderheart, if not sooner. Take care. Oh, and Liam, yeah, you're still here. Good night to you, Liam. Take care, Liam, my friend, and say good night to your mom for us. So, all right, everybody. Have a good one. Bye.